Leaders. Great leaders are unknown when there is peace, harmony, and well-being. The quote "great leaders are unknown when there is peace, harmony, and well-being" suggests that in times of calm and stability, there is less of a need for strong, visible leadership. When things are going smoothly, people tend to take their leaders for granted and may not fully appreciate their contributions. One way to interpret this quote is to think about the role of leaders in times of crisis or turmoil. During times of war, social unrest, or economic upheaval, strong leadership can make a significant difference in the outcome. In these situations, leaders are forced to make difficult decisions, navigate complex challenges, and inspire people to come together and work towards a common goal. In contrast, when things are going well, there may be less need for such visible leadership. People may be more self-sufficient, and the problems that need to be addressed may be less urgent or pressing. In these situations, leaders may work more behind the scenes, quietly managing and guiding the organization or community. Another way to interpret the quote is to consider the nature of leadership itself. Effective leaders are often those who can identify problems, anticipate challenges, and chart a course for success. When things are going well, these leaders may still be working hard behind the scenes to maintain the status quo or plan for the future, but their efforts may be less visible to the general public. In summary, the quote "great leaders are unknown when there is peace, harmony, and well-being" suggests that leadership is most visible and appreciated in times of crisis or turmoil, but effective leaders also play an important role in maintaining stability and planning for the future, even when things are going well. Integrity. Integrity of children is more than adults. The quote "integrity of children is more than adults" suggests that children have a greater tendency towards honesty, truthfulness, and ethical behavior than adults do. In other words, children are often seen as having a higher level of integrity than adults. There are a few reasons why this might be the case. Firstly, children have not yet been fully exposed to the complexities and challenges of adult life, such as the pressure to succeed, the need to conform to social norms, or the lure of material gain. They are often more innocent and less jaded, and thus, they may be more likely to act in accordance with their innate sense of morality and ethics. Additionally, children are often more transparent and less guarded in their communication and behavior. They may not have developed the same level of social filters and inhibitions that adults have, and thus, they may be more inclined to speak the truth and act authentically. This quote does suggest that there may be something about the innocence and authenticity of childhood that makes children more prone to acting with integrity. Sustainability. Be a minimalist and naturalist for a sustainable world. The quote "be a minimalist and naturalist for a sustainable world" suggests that adopting a minimalist and naturalist lifestyle can contribute to creating a more sustainable world. Let's break down this quote and explore what it means in more detail. Minimalism is a lifestyle philosophy that encourages people to live with less and focus on what is truly important. This can involve decluttering and simplifying one's possessions, as well as reducing consumption and waste. By living a minimalist lifestyle, people can reduce their environmental impact by using fewer resources and producing less waste. Naturalism, on the other hand, is an approach that values nature and natural systems. It emphasizes the importance of living in harmony with the environment and respecting the limits of natural resources. By adopting a naturalist lifestyle, people can reduce their impact on the environment and help to protect natural habitats and ecosystems. Together, the principles of minimalism and naturalism can contribute to creating a more sustainable world. By simplifying our lives and reducing consumption, we can reduce our carbon footprint and the amount of waste we produce. By living in harmony with the environment and respecting natural systems, we can protect ecosystems and promote biodiversity. There are many ways that individuals can adopt a minimalist and naturalist lifestyle. Some examples include choosing to live in a smaller home or apartment, which requires less energy to heat and cool. Reducing consumption of non-essential items such as clothing, electronics, and other material goods. Eating a plant-based diet, which requires fewer resources to produce than a meat-based diet. Using renewable energy sources such as solar or wind power. Avoiding single-use plastics and using reusable bags, water bottles, and containers. Supporting conservation efforts and protecting natural habitats through advocacy and donations. In summary, being a minimalist and naturalist means living with less and respecting the environment. By adopting these principles, individuals can reduce their environmental impact and contribute to a more sustainable world. Environment. Monitor your environment, biodiversity, water, air, soil and weather, improve it, for a meaningful and quality life. This quote emphasizes the importance of being aware of and taking care of our environment. The environment refers to the natural world around us, including elements like biodiversity, the variety of living things, water, air, soil, and weather. The first part of the quote, monitor your environment, suggests that we need to pay attention to what is happening in our environment. We need to be aware of the changes and trends in biodiversity, water, air, soil, and weather, and understand how they are all interconnected. By monitoring our environment, we can detect problems early and take steps to prevent or mitigate them. The second part of the quote, improve it, highlights the need for action. We cannot simply monitor our environment and do nothing. We need to take active steps to improve it. This could mean taking actions like planting trees to increase biodiversity, reducing our water usage to conserve this vital resource, supporting efforts to reduce air pollution, using sustainable agricultural practices to protect soil quality, and taking steps to address climate change. The final part of the quote, for a meaningful and quality life, reminds us that the environment is not just something we need to take care of for its own sake. It is also essential for our own well-being. A healthy environment provides us with the resources we need to live a meaningful and quality life. By taking care of our environment, we are taking care of ourselves and future generations. Giving. No one can compete when one wants to give. The quote, no one can compete when one wants to give, suggests that when someone has a genuine desire to give, help, or serve others without any expectation of receiving anything in return, they become unstoppable and unbeatable. In other words, when the intention is pure and selfless, there is no competition because the focus is on giving and not on winning or outdoing others. When someone wants to give, they operate from a place of abundance rather than scarcity. They are not trying to hoard resources or compete with others to get ahead. Instead, they are focused on sharing what they have, whether it be their time, skills, knowledge, or material possessions. The act of giving can be incredibly empowering, both for the giver and the recipient. When we give, we experience a sense of fulfillment, satisfaction, and purpose. We also create positive ripples in the world around us, as our generosity inspires others to give and create a more compassionate and caring society. In conclusion, the quote, no one can compete when one wants to give, emphasizes the transformative power of giving and encourages us to adopt a mindset of generosity and abundance. When we prioritize giving over winning or competing, we create a more harmonious and supportive world for ourselves and others. Shout. Those who shout should also be able to listen. The quote, those who shout should also be able to listen, is a simple yet powerful statement that highlights the importance of two-way communication. Essentially, the quote is suggesting that if someone is willing to voice their opinion loudly and boldly, they should also be willing to listen to the opinions of others. At its core, the quote is about fairness and respect in communication. When people are passionate about a particular topic or issue, they may feel the need to shout or speak out in a forceful manner to make their point heard. However, if they do not give others the same courtesy and respect by listening to their views, they are not engaging in a productive or fair conversation. In some cases, people may shout or speak out without really considering the opinions of others. They may be so focused on their own point of view that they fail to recognize the value of hearing what others have to say. However, this type of one-sided communication is not effective and can lead to misunderstandings, conflict, and resentment. On the other hand, when people are willing to both speak and listen, they can engage in a more productive and respectful dialogue. By listening to others' perspectives, people can gain a better understanding of different viewpoints and potentially even learn something new. This, in turn, can help foster better relationships and more positive outcomes in various situations. In summary, the quote, those who shout should also be able to listen, encourages people to engage in fair and respectful communication by recognizing the importance of two-way dialogue. By being willing to listen as well as speak out, people can better understand others' viewpoints and work towards more productive and positive outcomes. Children. If one cannot ensure future of the children, there is not much meaning in encouraging birth of children. This quote speaks to the idea that bringing children into the world is not enough in and of itself. Rather, it is important to consider the quality of life that these children will have and whether they will be able to thrive in the world. If parents are not able to provide for their children and ensure their well-being, then there may be little meaning in encouraging the birth of children. This is because bringing children into the world without adequate resources or support can lead to a host of negative outcomes, including poverty, hunger, illness, and even premature death. Additionally, children who grow up in disadvantaged circumstances may have fewer opportunities to succeed in life and may face a range of social, economic, and health-related challenges. Therefore, it is important to consider the future of children when deciding whether to have children or encourage others to do so. This means ensuring that children have access to basic needs like food, shelter, and healthcare, as well as opportunities for education, growth, and development. It also means creating a supportive and nurturing environment for children, both within the family and within society more broadly. Ultimately, the quote highlights the importance of responsible parenthood and community support for ensuring the well-being of children. By prioritizing the needs and future of children, we can create a world that is better equipped to meet the needs of all its citizens and ensure a more just and equitable society. Hero. In a war, if many died, how can there be a hero? The quote "In a war, if many died, how can there be a hero" reflects the idea that war is a brutal and destructive event, and that the death and suffering it brings can undermine any notion of heroism. At its core, the quote suggests that the very nature of war makes it difficult to see how any individual can be considered a hero. This is because war involves the violent destruction of human life, and often results in the deaths of many innocent people, including civilians who may have little or no connection to the conflict. In this context, it may seem difficult to identify any individual as a hero, since the cost of war is so high. Furthermore, the quote suggests that the concept of heroism may be particularly problematic in the context of war, because it can be difficult to determine what actions or behaviors actually constitute heroism. For example, one might argue that a soldier who kills many enemy combatants is a hero, while another might argue that a soldier who refuses to kill and instead tries to find peaceful solutions is the real hero. In this way, the concept of heroism can be muddled by the complexity and moral ambiguity of war. Ultimately, the quote reflects a broader skepticism about the idea of heroism, suggesting that the very concept may be difficult to apply in a world where violence and conflict are so prevalent. While there may be individuals who demonstrate bravery, courage, and selflessness in the face of war, it may be difficult to label any one person as a hero when so many have suffered and died. Slavery. Artificial intelligence and technology liberate people from slavery and makes them human. The quote "Artificial intelligence and technology liberate people from slavery and makes them human" suggests that technology, including AI, can help to free people from situations of oppression and allow them to live more fulfilling lives as fully realized human beings. In the context of historical slavery, technology has played a role in the abolition of slavery and the fight for civil rights. For example, the printing press enabled the widespread dissemination of anti-slavery literature, and the telegraph allowed for the rapid communication of information and ideas across great distances, which helped to mobilize abolitionist movements. Similarly, in more recent times, social media and other digital technologies have played a role in movements for social justice and human rights, helping to amplify the voices of marginalized communities and increase awareness of issues affecting them. At the same time, AI and other technologies have the potential to improve people's lives in a variety of ways, such as by enabling more efficient and effective healthcare, enhancing education and learning, and increasing access to information and opportunities. By making people's lives easier and more fulfilling, technology can help to promote their well-being and allow them to fully realize their potential as human beings. However, it is also important to note that technology can be a double-edged sword, and its impact on society can be both positive and negative. For example, while AI has the potential to improve healthcare outcomes and increase access to medical care, it also raises concerns about data privacy and the potential for algorithmic bias. Additionally, while digital technologies can help to promote social justice and human rights, they can also be used to spread misinformation and hate speech. In conclusion, the quote suggests that technology, including AI, can be a powerful tool for promoting human liberation and well-being. However, it is important to be aware of the potential downsides of technology and work to mitigate these risks in order to ensure that technology is used for the benefit of all people. Pass. Pass a person based on what is known, rather than failing a person on what is not known. The statement pass a person based on what is known, rather than failing a person on what is not known highlights the importance of assessing a student's knowledge and understanding of a particular subject based on what they do know, rather than penalizing them for what they do not know. Traditionally, tests have been used as a tool to evaluate a student's understanding of a particular topic or subject. However, the emphasis on testing has led to a culture of teaching to the test where students focus on memorizing information rather than truly understanding it. This approach can result in students who are able to regurgitate information for a test but are unable to apply it in real-life situations or think critically about the material. In contrast, the statement suggests that tests should be designed to evaluate a student's existing knowledge and understanding of a topic. By focusing on what a student does know, rather than what they do not know, teachers can create a more positive and empowering learning experience for their students. This approach can help to build students' confidence in their own abilities and create a more supportive learning environment. Moreover, this approach can help to reduce the impact of testing anxiety on students. Many students experience stress and anxiety when faced with a test, which can negatively impact their performance. By focusing on what a student does know, rather than what they do not know, teachers can help to alleviate some of this anxiety and create a more positive testing experience. In summary, the statement test pass a person based on what is known, rather than failing a person on what is not known emphasizes the importance of creating tests that assess a student's existing knowledge and understanding of a subject, rather than penalizing them for what they do not know. This approach can help to build students' confidence, reduce testing anxiety, and create a more positive and empowering learning experience. Leader. Humanity and the environments around a person make a leader. The quote "humanity and the environments around a person make a leader" suggests that leadership is not solely determined by an individual's personal qualities, but rather is shaped by the surrounding environment and the people with whom they interact. When we think of leadership, we often think of individuals who possess certain traits such as charisma, intelligence, and confidence. While these qualities can certainly be helpful in a leadership role, the quote reminds us that they are not the only factors that contribute to effective leadership. The environment in which a leader operates can have a significant impact on their ability to lead. For example, a leader who is working in a supportive and nurturing environment is more likely to be successful than a leader who is operating in a toxic or unsupportive environment. The quality of the relationships that a leader has with their colleagues and subordinates can also play a significant role in their ability to lead effectively. A leader who is able to build strong and positive relationships with those around them is more likely to be able to inspire and motivate others to achieve common goals. In addition to the environment, the quote also highlights the importance of humanity in shaping a leader. Effective leaders must be able to understand and empathize with the people they are leading. They must be able to recognize the unique strengths and weaknesses of each individual and tailor their leadership approach accordingly. A leader who is able to connect with their followers on a human level is more likely to be able to inspire and motivate them to achieve their goals. Overall, the quote "humanity and the environments around a person make a leader" emphasizes the idea that leadership is a complex and dynamic process that is shaped by a variety of factors. While personal qualities and traits can certainly be helpful in a leadership role, effective leadership also requires an understanding of the environment and the people with whom a leader is working. By recognizing the importance of these factors, leaders can create more positive and productive work environments that support the growth and success of their organizations. Social. Children want friends, not money. Adults think money can buy friends. The quote "children want friends, not money. Adults think money can buy friends" highlights the difference in priorities and perspectives between children and adults when it comes to social relationships and material possessions. Children, especially at a young age, are more focused on social connections and building relationships with their peers. They seek out friends who share similar interests, who they can play and learn with, and who they can rely on for emotional support. For children, the value of friendship lies in the emotional connection and companionship that it provides, rather than in any material gain. On the other hand, adults are often more focused on material possessions and financial success. They may prioritize career advancement, accumulating wealth, and acquiring expensive items or experiences as symbols of their social status. Adults may believe that having money can help them gain influence and status, and may see material possessions as a way to gain acceptance and admiration from others. However, the quote suggests that adults may be mistaken in their belief that money can buy friends. While wealth and possessions may attract superficial attention and admiration from others, they do not necessarily lead to genuine social connections and meaningful relationships. In fact, the pursuit of material wealth and status can often lead to isolation and loneliness, as people become more focused on their own individual success rather than on building connections with others. Moreover, the quote suggests that adults may be overlooking the importance of social relationships and companionship in their pursuit of material success. While financial stability is certainly important for ensuring a comfortable and secure life, it is not a substitute for the emotional fulfillment and sense of belonging that comes from having meaningful social connections and friendships. In summary, the quote "Children want friends, not money, adults think money can buy friends" highlights the importance of social connections and companionship in human life, and suggests that the pursuit of material wealth and status can sometimes come at the expense of these valuable relationships. Human environment makes a human being. The quote "environment makes a human being" suggests that the surroundings, circumstances, and experiences of a person shape their development and character, ultimately influencing who they become as individuals. Human beings are not born as fully formed individuals but instead develop and grow over time. Throughout their lives, they are influenced by various factors such as genetics, culture, social norms, education, family, and environment. However, the environment plays a particularly significant role in shaping an individual's development, as it encompasses all of the external factors that surround and impact them. The environment can include physical factors such as the climate, geography, and infrastructure of a place, as well as social factors such as the people, culture, and customs that exist within it. These environmental factors can influence an individual's personality, beliefs, values, behavior, and even their physical health. For instance, a child who grows up in a loving and supportive environment is more likely to develop positive self-esteem, social skills, and emotional intelligence. On the other hand, a child who grows up in an abusive or neglectful environment may develop behavioral and emotional problems that impact their relationships and quality of life. Similarly, the socio-economic environment can impact an individual's education, career, and overall life outcomes. For example, a person who grows up in a low-income neighborhood may face barriers to education and employment opportunities, which can limit their potential for success. In conclusion, the quote "environment makes a human being" highlights the significance of the environment in shaping an individual's development and character. It emphasizes the importance of creating positive and supportive environments that foster growth, learning, and well-being for all individuals. By understanding the impact of environment, we can better understand and support the needs of individuals in our communities, and create environments that promote positive outcomes for all. Guru. If students fail in life, all the gurus in one's life should be responsible. The quote "If students fail in life, all the gurus in one's life should be responsible" suggests that a student's success or failure in life is not solely the responsibility of the student themselves, but also the responsibility of the teachers or gurus who have influenced and guided them. The term gurus can refer to anyone who has had a significant impact on a student's life, including parents, teachers, mentors, and other influential figures. The quote implies that if a student fails to achieve their goals or succeed in life, it is not simply a result of their own shortcomings, but also a reflection of the quality of guidance and education they received from their gurus. There are several reasons why this quote is significant. First, it emphasizes the importance of the role that teachers or gurus play in a student's life. Teachers have a responsibility to provide students with the knowledge and skills necessary to succeed in life, and to act as positive role models for their students. If a student fails to achieve their goals, it could be seen as a failure on the part of their teachers or gurus to adequately prepare and guide them. Secondly, the quote highlights the idea that education is a collaborative effort between the student and their teachers. While the student is ultimately responsible for their own success, their teachers or gurus also have a responsibility to provide them with the tools and resources they need to succeed. Finally, the quote suggests that the relationship between a student and their teachers or gurus is a two-way street. Just as teachers have a responsibility to guide and educate their students, students also have a responsibility to take advantage of the opportunities and resources provided to them by their teachers. In summary, The quote, "If students fail in life, all the gurus in one's life should be responsible," suggests that a student's success or failure in life is a reflection of the quality of education and guidance they received from their teachers or gurus. This quote highlights the important role that teachers play in a student's life and emphasizes the need for collaboration between students and their teachers in order to achieve success. War. A king can fight in a war only when his horse is daring. The quote, "A king can fight in a war only when his horse is daring," suggests that the success of a king in battle is heavily dependent on the courage and bravery of his horse. In other words, the king's ability to lead and fight in a battle is only as good as his horse's willingness to charge into battle. There are a few potential interpretations of this quote. One interpretation is that the horse is a symbol of power and strength. In many cultures throughout history, horses have been seen as a powerful and noble animal that can carry a rider into battle. Therefore, if a king's horse is brave and willing to charge into battle, it can serve as a symbol of the king's own power and strength. On the other hand, if the horse is timid or unwilling to charge, it can be seen as a reflection of the king's own weakness or lack of courage. Another interpretation of the quote is that it highlights the importance of trust and partnership between a rider and their horse. In battle, a horse and rider need to be in sync in order to be effective. If the horse is scared or disobedient, it can be difficult for the rider to control it and lead it into battle. Therefore, a king who wants to be successful in battle needs to have a close relationship with his horse and be able to trust it to follow his commands. Overall, the quote, "A king can fight in a war only when his horse is daring," suggests that the success of a king in battle is closely tied to the courage and bravery of his horse. Whether the horse is seen as a symbol of power and strength or as a partner in battle, it is clear that the relationship between a king and his horse is an important factor in determining the outcome of a battle. Education. Education is like grouping in murky waters to catch fish, using information, knowledge, skills, guessing and luck. Education can be compared to grouping in murky waters to catch fish because, in both scenarios, you need to use various tools and techniques to succeed. When you're grouping in murky waters, you can't see the fish, so you have to rely on your instincts, experience, and a bit of luck to catch them. Similarly, in education, you don't always know what you're going to learn or how you're going to apply it, so you need to use various resources and strategies to succeed. Information is one of the tools you use in education, just as you might use a fishing rod or a net to catch fish. In education, you gather information through lectures, books, videos, and other sources. This information provides the foundation for your learning and helps you understand the concepts and ideas you need to succeed. Knowledge is another important tool in education, just as it is in fishing. Knowledge allows you to make informed decisions and take the right actions to achieve your goals. In education, you acquire knowledge through study, research, and experimentation. This knowledge allows you to understand the material you're learning and apply it in real-world situations. Skills are also essential in education, just as they are in fishing. In education, you need skills such as critical thinking, problem solving, and communication to succeed. These skills help you analyze information, synthesize ideas, and communicate your thoughts effectively. Guessing is another tool that can be useful in education, just as it can be in fishing. When you're fishing, you might have to make educated guesses about where the fish are hiding or what type of bait to use. Similarly, in education, you might have to make educated guesses about how to solve a problem or what approach to take when learning a new concept. Luck is also a factor in both fishing and education. Sometimes, you get lucky and catch a lot of fish, or you stumble upon a particularly useful piece of information. Similarly, in education, you might get lucky and have an easier time with a particular subject or assignment. However, relying solely on luck is not a reliable strategy for success. In conclusion, education is like grouping in murky waters to catch fish because it requires various tools and techniques to succeed, including information, knowledge, skills, guessing, and luck. By using these tools and strategies, you can improve your chances of success in education and achieve your goals. Mind. Environ plus mental is environmental. Without environs, there is no mind. The quote, "Environ plus mental is environmental. Without environs, there is no mind," is a play on words that highlights the interconnectedness of the environment and the human mind. The first part of the quote, "Environ plus mental is environmental," suggests that the state of the environment has a direct impact on mental health and well-being. This is supported by a growing body of research that shows a correlation between exposure to natural environments and improved mental health outcomes, including reduced stress and anxiety, improved mood, and increased cognitive function. The second part of the quote, "Without environs, there is no mind," emphasizes the importance of the environment in shaping the development of the human mind. From a developmental perspective, the environment plays a critical role in shaping the neural pathways and cognitive processes that underlie human cognition and behavior. This includes exposure to sensory stimuli, social interactions, and cultural norms, all of which can have a profound impact on the development of the human mind. Taken together, the quote suggests that the environment and the mind are inextricably linked, and that a healthy and sustainable environment is essential for maintaining good mental health and well-being. Conversely, a degraded or polluted environment can have negative impacts on mental health, including increased stress, anxiety, and depression. The quote also highlights the importance of taking a holistic approach to understanding and addressing environmental issues. Rather than simply focusing on reducing carbon emissions or protecting natural habitats, it is important to consider the broader social and psychological impacts of environmental degradation and work to create a more sustainable and supportive environment for all. Artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence in the hands of compassionate artists makes a world humane. Artificial intelligence, AI, refers to the development of machines and computer systems that can perform tasks that typically require human intelligence, such as visual perception, speech recognition, decision-making, and language translation. AI has the potential to revolutionize many industries, from healthcare and finance to transportation and entertainment. However, as AI becomes more widespread, there are concerns about its impact on society and humanity. One way to ensure that AI benefits society is by putting it in the hands of compassionate artists. Artists have a unique perspective on the world and a deep understanding of human emotions and experiences. They can use AI to create art that reflects these emotions and experiences, bringing humanity to a world that can sometimes seem cold and impersonal. For example, AI can be used to create music, paintings, and other forms of art that are inspired by human emotions and experiences. AI algorithms can analyze millions of pieces of music or art and identify patterns and themes that are common across different genres and styles. Artists can then use these patterns and themes to create new works of art that are both original and emotionally resonant. Another way that compassionate artists can use AI to make the world more humane is by developing AI systems that are designed to help people. For example, AI chatbots can be programmed to provide emotional support and mental health counseling to people who are struggling with anxiety, depression, or other mental health issues. AI-powered virtual assistants can help elderly people and people with disabilities to live independently by providing reminders, scheduling appointments, and performing other tasks. Compassionate artists can also use AI to create educational materials and games that help children and adults learn important skills and develop empathy and compassion for others. AI-powered educational games can adapt to each student's learning style and provide personalized feedback and support. AI-powered simulations can allow people to experience different perspectives and cultures, helping them to develop a deeper understanding of the world around them. In conclusion, AI has the potential to transform many aspects of society, but it is important that we use it in a way that benefits humanity. By putting AI in the hands of compassionate artists, we can create a world that is more humane and emotionally resonant. From music and art to mental health counseling and education, AI can be used to create new opportunities for people to connect with each other and understand the world around them. Empower. A powerful leader empowers everyone. A powerful leader who empowers everyone is someone who inspires and enables others to realize their full potential. Such a leader creates an environment where everyone feels supported, respected, and valued. Empowerment, in this context, means giving people the resources, tools, and freedom they need to make their own decisions and take ownership of their work. There are several ways in which a powerful leader can empower everyone. 1. Provide clear goals and objectives. A powerful leader empowers everyone by providing clear goals and objectives that everyone understands. This helps people to know what they are working towards and what is expected of them. It also gives them a sense of purpose and direction. 2. Encourage creativity and innovation. A powerful leader empowers everyone by encouraging creativity and innovation. This means giving people the freedom to try new things and take risks without fear of failure. This helps to foster a culture of experimentation and learning, where people feel empowered to find new solutions to problems. 3. Foster open communication. A powerful leader empowers everyone by fostering open communication. This means creating an environment where people feel comfortable expressing their ideas, opinions, and concerns. This helps to build trust and respect among team members and ensures that everyone feels heard and valued. 4. Provide resources and support. A powerful leader empowers everyone by providing the resources and support needed to succeed. This may include training, tools, technology, or funding. By providing the necessary resources, a leader can help people to achieve their goals and reach their full potential. 5. Celebrate successes. A powerful leader empowers everyone by celebrating successes. This means recognizing and rewarding the achievements of individuals and teams. Celebrating successes helps to build morale and motivation, and reinforces the importance of hard work and dedication. Overall, a powerful leader who empowers everyone is someone who leads by example, inspires others, and creates an environment where everyone feels supported and valued. By empowering everyone, a leader can help to build a strong and successful team that achieves great things together. Bias. If you have a prize to be given to a student in a class, whom do you choose? The student topper or the below-average student? Mostly the topper as a reward. It means you prefer giving the life buoy to the best swimmer, rather than the drowning person. When deciding whom to give a prize to in a class, there are a few factors to consider. The first and most obvious is academic performance. The student with the highest marks or GPA is typically the one considered for a prize. This is because academic performance is often seen as a measure of intelligence and hard work, and thus, the student who excels in this area is often recognized for their efforts. However, it is also important to consider other factors when choosing a student for a prize. For example, a student who struggles academically but has shown significant improvement or has put in extra effort to overcome obstacles may also be a worthy candidate for a prize. This student may not have achieved the highest grades, but their determination and commitment to their studies are qualities that should also be recognized and rewarded. In terms of the life buoy analogy, it is true that giving the prize to the topper is like giving a life buoy to the best swimmer rather than the drowning person. However, it is important to recognize that academic success is not the only measure of a student's worth or potential. By recognizing and rewarding students who have shown improvement or dedication to their studies, we can encourage all students to strive for success and help them reach their full potential. In conclusion, when deciding whom to give a prize to in a class, it is important to consider both academic performance and other factors such as effort, improvement, and commitment to studies. While the student with the highest grades may be the obvious choice, it is important to recognize and reward all students who have shown dedication and effort in their academic pursuits. Free. Are you free? As you don't ask your doctor for a consultation, same with me, don't ask. The quote is about respecting someone's expertise and valuing their time and effort. Just as you wouldn't expect a doctor to provide medical advice for free, you shouldn't expect someone else to provide their services without compensation. It could be interpreted as a way of setting boundaries and establishing expectations regarding compensation for services. Additionally, the quote could be seen as a way of asserting one's own worth and value. It suggests that the person who said it believes that their time and expertise are valuable and that they should be compensated accordingly. It can be empowering to set boundaries and assert oneself in this way, especially if one feels undervalued or underappreciated. Overall, the quote "Are you free? As you don't ask your doctor for a consultation, same with me, don't ask" is a reminder to value and respect people's time and expertise and to recognize the importance of compensation for services rendered. Teaching. Teachers would be doubtful about their teaching abilities as they start correcting the exam papers of students. This quote suggests that teachers often question their effectiveness as educators when they see the mistakes that their students have made on exams. There are a few reasons why teachers might feel doubtful or insecure when they are grading exams. For one thing, exams are a way for teachers to assess whether their students have learned the material that has been covered in class. If a teacher sees a lot of mistakes on an exam, they might worry that they did not do a good job of teaching the material in a way that their students could understand. This can be particularly true if the mistakes are widespread across the class and not just isolated to one or two students. Another reason why teachers might feel doubtful when grading exams is that they often invest a lot of time and effort into their teaching. They want their students to succeed and they work hard to create engaging lesson plans, provide clear explanations, and offer support to struggling students. When they see that their efforts have not translated into success on the exam, it can be discouraging. Furthermore, the act of grading exams can be a humbling experience for teachers. It is easy to get caught up in the role of the expert in the classroom, but when you are faced with a large pile of exams that show your students have not quite mastered the material, it can be a reminder that there is always more to learn and that everyone makes mistakes. That said, it is important to note that feeling doubtful about teaching abilities when grading exams is a common experience for many teachers. It does not necessarily mean that the teacher is not effective or that their teaching methods are not working. Instead, it can be a reminder that teaching is a complex and challenging profession that requires ongoing learning and growth. Teachers who use the experience of grading exams as an opportunity to reflect on their teaching and identify areas for improvement are more likely to continue to grow and develop as educators. Health. A healthy person can eat all that one loves. Restrictions or prescriptions are only for those suffering from a disease or deficiencies. The quote, "A healthy person can eat all that one loves, restrictions or prescriptions are only for those suffering from a disease or deficiencies," suggests that people who are healthy and do not have any medical conditions or deficiencies do not need to follow any specific diet restrictions or prescriptions. The quote implies that individuals can eat whatever they want without having to worry about the negative consequences of their diet. In general, a healthy person can eat a variety of foods as part of a balanced diet. A balanced diet includes a variety of fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean protein, and healthy fats. This diet provides the necessary nutrients that the body needs to function optimally. A healthy individual does not necessarily need to avoid any particular type of food, as long as they are consuming it in moderation and as part of a balanced diet. However, individuals who have specific medical conditions or deficiencies may need to follow certain dietary restrictions or prescriptions. For example, individuals who have high blood pressure may need to limit their intake of salt. Individuals who have celiac disease may need to avoid gluten-containing foods. Similarly, individuals who have a deficiency in a particular nutrient, such as iron or calcium, may need to take supplements or increase their intake of certain foods. It is important to note that even healthy individuals should still be mindful of their diet and make informed choices about what they eat. Consuming a diet that is high in saturated and trans fats, sugar, and salt can increase the risk of developing various health problems, such as heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and high blood pressure. Therefore, while healthy individuals do not necessarily need to follow strict dietary restrictions or prescriptions, they should still aim to consume a balanced diet and limit their intake of unhealthy foods. In summary, the quote, "A healthy person can eat all that one loves, restrictions or prescriptions are only for those suffering from a disease or deficiencies," suggests that individuals who are healthy and do not have any medical conditions or deficiencies do not need to follow specific dietary restrictions or prescriptions. However, even healthy individuals should still be mindful of their diet and make informed choices about what they eat to maintain good health. Indigenous communities. Globally, indigenous communities are great artists. The quote, "Globally, indigenous communities are great artists," suggests that indigenous communities around the world have a rich history of creating art that is both culturally significant and aesthetically stunning. Indigenous art often reflects the history, traditions, and beliefs of the community, and is created using materials and techniques that have been passed down through generations. Indigenous art can take many forms, including sculpture, pottery, weaving, beadwork, painting, and carving. Each community has its own unique style and approach to art, which reflects the culture, history, and environment of that particular region. For example, Inuit art often features sculptures of animals and people, while Navajo weavings often incorporate geometric designs and symbols. Indigenous artists also often incorporate their spiritual beliefs into their art, creating pieces that are not only visually stunning, but also imbued with deep cultural significance. For example, the Hopi people of Arizona create intricate Katsina dolls, which are believed to represent spirits that bring rain and fertility to the land. Despite the many challenges that indigenous communities have faced, including colonization, forced assimilation, and marginalization, their art continues to thrive and evolve. Today, indigenous artists are using new materials and techniques to create contemporary pieces that reflect the realities of their lives, while also honoring their traditions and heritage. Overall, The quote globally indigenous communities are great artists acknowledges the incredible richness and diversity of indigenous art and the important role that it plays in preserving and celebrating indigenous cultures around the world. Dance. Dancing on a stage when audience are watching is for others, one would dance anywhere for oneself. The quote dancing on a stage when audience are watching is for others, one would dance anywhere for oneself suggests that there are two different motivations for dancing, one is to perform for an audience and the other is to dance for one's own enjoyment. When someone dances on a stage with an audience watching, the primary motivation is often to entertain and impress the audience. In this case, the dancer may be more focused on how their movements are being perceived by others rather than on their own enjoyment of the dance. This can create a certain amount of pressure and anxiety, as the dancer may feel the need to perform flawlessly and meet the expectations of the audience. On the other hand, when someone dances for themselves, the focus is entirely on their own experience of the dance. They may dance in a private space where no one else is watching, or they may dance in public without caring what others think. In this case, the dancer is free to move in a way that feels authentic and meaningful to them, without the pressure of external expectations. Overall, the quote suggests that there is value in both types of dancing. Performing for an audience can be a powerful form of expression and communication, while dancing for oneself can be a liberating and deeply personal experience. It's important to remember that both approaches are valid, and that the most important thing is to dance in a way that feels authentic and meaningful to you. Food. However costly and tasty the food might be, one cannot keep it in the stomach longer. The quote however costly and tasty the food might be, one cannot keep it in the stomach longer is a reflection on the fleeting nature of physical pleasures. The quote suggests that even the most expensive and delicious food will not last forever, as it will eventually be digested and eliminated from the body. This quote implies that material possessions and worldly pleasures are ultimately temporary and cannot provide lasting satisfaction. It also suggests that people should not focus too much on accumulating material possessions or seeking out pleasures, as these things are ultimately transitory and will not bring long-term fulfillment. The quote may also be interpreted as a reminder to focus on more meaningful and lasting aspects of life, such as relationships, personal growth, and spiritual fulfillment. These are the things that can bring true happiness and satisfaction, as they are not tied to fleeting physical pleasures. In summary, the quote suggests that people should not place too much importance on material possessions or temporary pleasures, as these things will not bring lasting satisfaction. Instead, they should focus on cultivating deeper, more meaningful aspects of life that can bring lasting joy and fulfillment. History. The geology of an area makes lasting history, by becoming a part of the evidence in the form of inscriptions, statues and monuments. The quote suggests that the geological features of an area can have a significant impact on the history of that place, and that these features can become part of the evidence that historians use to understand the past. This is because the geological characteristics of a place can influence the development of human societies and the construction of physical structures that leave lasting marks on the landscape. For example, a region with rich mineral deposits may have attracted ancient civilizations who sought to mine these resources, leaving behind ruins and artifacts that give insight into their way of life. Alternatively, a mountain range or river system may have provided natural barriers that shaped the political and social organization of a region. The quote also suggests that geological features can become physical markers of history in the form of inscriptions, statues, and monuments. For example, a mountain or rock formation may be carved with inscriptions or decorated with statues that commemorate significant events or figures in history. Similarly, a natural landmark may be incorporated into a monument or memorial to honor a specific event or person. Overall, the quote highlights the interconnectedness of geology and history, and the ways in which the physical features of a place can become an important part of its cultural and historical heritage. Debt. Debt crisis happens when one reaches the limits of exploitation of Mother Nature. A debt crisis occurs when a country, or even an individual, reaches the limits of their ability to repay their debts. This can happen when they borrow too much money or when the interest on their debt becomes too high. When a country's debt grows beyond its ability to repay, it can become a serious problem that can have far-reaching consequences for the country's economy and its people. One reason why debt crises happen is that nations may exploit natural resources beyond their capacity, leading to unsustainable debt accumulation. For example, a country may overexploit its natural resources, such as forests, minerals, or water, to generate income to pay off its debts. However, if this exploitation continues at an unsustainable rate, it may eventually lead to the depletion of these resources, causing irreversible damage to the environment and ecosystems. As a result, the country may not be able to generate the same amount of income in the future, which could further exacerbate the debt crisis. Moreover, this approach of exploiting nature to repay debts is unjustifiable as it deprives the present and future generations of their rights to access these resources. Natural resources are a shared heritage that must be preserved for future generations. If nations overexploit these resources to repay debts, it violates the principles of intergenerational equity and sustainable development. Moreover, it places a disproportionate burden on the poor and vulnerable who are most dependent on these resources for their livelihoods and well-being. In conclusion, debt crises arising from the exploitation of natural resources beyond their limits and mortgaging the environment and resources are a threat to the future of our planet. It is essential to adopt sustainable development practices that balance economic growth with the conservation of natural resources to avoid such crises. We need to ensure that our development is not at the cost of ecosystems, present and future generations, and the planet's health. Games and wars. Games and sports make winners and losers. The skills, intellect are the means to compete. There is not much humanness, compassion and love as it happens in wars. Games and sports are competitive activities that involve a set of rules and guidelines that need to be followed to achieve a goal. These activities are designed to test the skills, intellect, and physical abilities of the participants. In sports and games, winning and losing are essential elements that determine the outcome of the competition. It is through competition that the best of the best is selected, and the winners are honored while the losers are often forgotten. However, it is true that there is not much humanness, compassion, and love as it happens in wars. In sports and games, the focus is on winning and achieving the desired outcome. There is little room for empathy or compassion towards one's opponents. This is because the goal is to win, and any distraction from that goal can be detrimental to one's performance. While sports have the ability to bring people together and create a sense of unity and camaraderie, they also have the potential to divide people based on their allegiances and identities. This is particularly evident in sports like football and cricket, where national and regional rivalries are a big part of the culture and the competition. People often identify strongly with their favorite sports teams or players, and this identification can create a sense of tribalism and exclusivity. Fans may feel a strong sense of loyalty to their team or country, which can lead to a sense of rivalry and even hostility towards fans of other teams or countries. Additionally, sports can often be seen as a reflection of larger societal and political tensions. For example, historical conflicts or cultural differences between nations or regions may be reflected in the rivalry between their sports teams. This can exacerbate existing tensions and contribute to a sense of division between people. Leaders. Many so-called great leaders are cruel, if we decipher their true nature. The quote "many so-called great leaders are cruel if we decipher their true nature" suggests that some individuals who are commonly regarded as great or successful leaders may not be as virtuous or benevolent as they appear. In fact, upon closer examination, their true nature may reveal them to be cruel or lacking in empathy. There are several reasons why this may be the case. First, leaders who are focused on achieving their goals or maintaining their power may be willing to make decisions that are harsh or even unethical, in order to achieve their desired outcomes. They may be more concerned with their own success than with the well-being of the people they lead. Second, leaders may be influenced by their own biases or prejudices, which can lead them to make decisions that are discriminatory or unfair. This can be particularly true if the leader comes from a privileged background or has limited exposure to diverse perspectives. Finally, some leaders may simply have a cruel or sadistic streak, and enjoy exerting power over others or inflicting harm on those they see as weaker or less powerful. However, it's also important to note that the quote uses the phrase so-called to suggest that the label of great leader is not always accurate or deserved. The term great is often applied to individuals who achieve success and power, regardless of whether their actions are actually positive or ethical. Ultimately, the quote suggests that it's important to carefully scrutinize the actions and motivations of leaders, rather than simply accepting their labels or reputations at face value. By doing so, we may be able to identify and hold accountable leaders who are cruel or unethical, while also recognizing and supporting those who are truly deserving of the title of great leader. Life. Exiting from this world is exciting. The quote "exiting from this world is exciting" is a statement that suggests that leaving the world, either through death or some other form of departure, can be an exciting prospect. The interpretation of this quote can vary greatly depending on the context in which it is used and the individual perspective of the person interpreting it. One possible interpretation of this quote is that it suggests a sense of adventure or excitement that can come with the unknown. Leaving behind the familiar and venturing into something new and uncharted can be thrilling and exhilarating. This interpretation may appeal to those who seek novelty and excitement in their lives, or those who believe in the afterlife or spiritual journey beyond this world. It also implies that the feeling of excitement or fulfillment associated with leaving this world is contingent on having achieved something significant or meaningful during one's life. This could refer to accomplishments in various domains, such as personal or professional achievements, contributions to society or one's community, or even spiritual or philosophical accomplishments. The idea here is that a sense of accomplishment can give one's life a sense of purpose and meaning, which in turn can make the prospect of leaving this world behind more acceptable or even desirable. When one feels that they have accomplished something significant or meaningful during their lifetime, they may feel a sense of closure or completeness that makes the idea of exiting from this world less daunting. Of course, it's worth noting that this quote represents a particular perspective on the concept of death and the meaning of life. For those who do find this perspective resonant, it can be a powerful reminder to live a life that is meaningful and fulfilling. Smile. Smile is the common language for the whole of humanity, making others more human. The quote "smile is the common language for the whole of humanity, making others more human" suggests that a smile is a universal way to communicate with others, regardless of culture, language, or nationality. It implies that a smile has the power to connect people on a human level and to make others feel more understood and accepted. A smile is a nonverbal form of communication that conveys positive emotions such as happiness, friendliness, and kindness. When we smile at someone, we are sending them a message of goodwill and warmth, which can help to break down barriers and create a sense of connection between people. One of the key ideas behind this quote is that smiling is a universal experience. People from all cultures and backgrounds smile in response to similar situations, such as feeling happy or amused, or when greeting someone they know. This shared experience means that a smile can be understood and appreciated by anyone, regardless of language or cultural differences. Moreover, the quote suggests that a smile has the power to humanize others. In other words, by smiling at someone, we are recognizing their humanity and affirming their worth as a person. A smile can help to break down stereotypes and prejudices, and to create a sense of empathy and understanding between people who may otherwise have little in common. Overall, the quote "smile is the common language for the whole of humanity, making others more human" is a reminder of the power of a smile to connect us as human beings. By sharing a smile with others, we can transcend cultural and linguistic barriers, and create a sense of unity and understanding that can help to make the world a better place. Goals. Trying respective goals of reaching the peak of a mountain, a person lost one leg while climbing and another person without one leg was climbing the same mountain. Both are greater than the person who lost nothing. This quote is essentially stating that the two individuals who faced physical limitations while climbing a mountain and still managed to reach the peak have achieved more than the individual who did not face any such limitations and was able to reach the peak without any significant obstacles. The quote emphasizes the importance of perseverance, determination, and the willingness to overcome obstacles. It highlights the fact that even in the face of adversity, people can accomplish great things if they remain focused on their goals. The person who lost one leg had to overcome a significant physical limitation to climb the mountain, yet they still managed to reach the peak. This individual's determination and perseverance are commendable, as they refused to let their physical limitations stop them from achieving their goal. Similarly, the person without one leg faced a similar challenge, but they were also able to overcome it and reach the peak of the mountain. Their determination, resilience, and ability to adapt to their circumstances allowed them to achieve their goal. Both of these individuals are deemed to be greater than the person who did not face any significant challenges while climbing the mountain. This is because the individuals who faced physical limitations and still managed to achieve their goal had to work harder and overcome more significant obstacles, which makes their achievement more impressive. In summary, This quote emphasizes the importance of perseverance, determination, and the willingness to overcome obstacles in achieving one's goals. It also highlights the fact that even in the face of adversity, people can accomplish great things if they remain focused on their goals. Immersion. Immersion of the wick in oil before lighting a lamp is as important as the immersion of people into the subjects to lead for action. This quote draws an analogy between two seemingly unrelated things, lighting a lamp and leading people into action. The first part of the quote refers to the process of preparing a lamp for use by immersing the wick in oil before lighting it. This step is crucial because it ensures that the wick will burn steadily and provide a consistent source of light. The second part of the quote suggests that a similar process is required to prepare people for action. In this case, the immersion refers to the process of educating or training people on a particular subject. Just as the wick needs to be fully immersed in oil to be effective, people need to fully understand a subject before they can take meaningful action. The quote implies that merely presenting information is not enough to inspire action. Instead, people must be fully immersed in a subject so that they can internalize it and apply it in practical ways. This requires a deeper level of engagement and understanding than simply being exposed to information. Overall, the quote emphasizes the importance of thorough preparation in achieving a desired outcome. Whether it is lighting a lamp or inspiring people to take action, careful preparation and immersion are crucial for success. Sensitive. Awareness and exposure are the means for being sensitive. A sensitive and conscious human being can lead and act for a better world. The quote suggests that awareness and exposure are important factors in developing sensitivity, which in turn can lead to more conscious actions that benefit the world. Awareness refers to having knowledge and understanding of a particular issue or situation. Exposure, on the other hand, refers to the experience of being in contact with different people, cultures, and ideas. When a person is aware and exposed to different perspectives, they become more sensitive to the needs and experiences of others. They can better understand the impact of their actions on the world around them and take responsibility for making positive changes. A sensitive and conscious human being, therefore, is someone who is aware and exposed to diverse perspectives and is able to use that sensitivity to act in a way that benefits the world. This could mean advocating for social justice, protecting the environment, or promoting equality and fairness in their community. In summary, the quote suggests that by becoming aware and exposed to different perspectives, we can develop sensitivity that allows us to act in ways that make the world a better place. Nature. Nurture nature should be one's nature. The quote nurture nature should be one's nature can be interpreted in a few different ways, but generally, it suggests that caring for and protecting the natural world should be a fundamental part of human behavior, rather than something that is done only as an afterthought or as a response to a crisis. One interpretation of this quote is that humans should recognize the inherent value of nature and feel a sense of responsibility to care for it. This means that we should prioritize protecting the environment and its biodiversity, rather than exploiting it for short-term gains. This could involve making choices in our daily lives that reduce our impact on the planet, such as using public transportation, reducing our consumption of single-use plastics, and supporting environmentally responsible companies. Another interpretation is that nurturing nature should be seen as a natural and instinctual behavior for humans. Just as animals instinctively care for their young and protect their habitats, humans should have an innate desire to care for the natural world. This means that environmental awareness and concern for the planet should be woven into our cultural values and educational systems from a young age. Ultimately, the quote nurture nature should be one's nature suggests that humans have a responsibility to care for the planet, and that doing so should be seen as a natural and necessary part of our behavior. By prioritizing environmental protection and sustainability, we can create a healthier, more resilient planet for future generations. Law of nature. If no law takes care, law of nature takes care. The quote if no law takes care, law of nature takes care suggests that if there are no human-made laws in place to govern and regulate our behavior, then the natural laws of the universe will take over and ensure that there are consequences for our actions. In other words, if we don't have rules and regulations in place to maintain order and prevent harm to ourselves and others, then the natural laws that govern the physical world will still operate and have an impact on our lives. For example, if there are no traffic laws to regulate the speed and behavior of drivers on the road, the natural law of physics will come into play and accidents will occur. Similarly, if there are no laws to prevent pollution and protect the environment, the natural law of cause and effect will eventually lead to environmental degradation and harm to human health. Overall, the quote emphasizes the importance of having laws and regulations in place to maintain order and prevent harm, but also acknowledges the fundamental role that natural laws play in shaping our lives and the world around us. Rich and poor. Someone rich means others are poor, or everyone around are same or depriving the rights of future generations, or debt created even for future, or environment degraded or resources depleted. The quote "someone rich means others are poor" suggests that in a society where there are wealthy individuals, there must also be a significant population of individuals who are not wealthy and may even be living in poverty. This is because wealth is often accumulated through the exploitation of labor and resources, which results in a concentration of wealth and power in the hands of a few individuals or groups. Additionally, the quote suggests that the existence of wealthy individuals may also lead to the depriving of rights for future generations. This is because the pursuit of wealth often comes at the expense of natural resources and the environment, which can have long-term negative consequences for future generations. Furthermore, the accumulation of debt by the wealthy can have far-reaching effects on future generations as well. This is because debt can limit the opportunities and resources available to future generations, making it more difficult for them to achieve economic and social stability. Finally, the quote implies that the pursuit of wealth can also result in the degradation of the environment and the depletion of natural resources. This is because the extraction and use of natural resources often involves practices that are harmful to the environment, which can have negative consequences for both current and future generations. Overall, the quote suggests that the pursuit of wealth often comes at a cost to society, particularly for those who are marginalized or vulnerable. Risk. People love risk in life. Vulnerability gives happiness to some people. The quote "people love risk in life, vulnerability gives happiness to some people" suggests that there are some individuals who enjoy taking risks and being vulnerable in their lives, and that these experiences can bring them happiness. Risk-taking is a natural part of human behavior, and it can come in many forms. Some people may take risks in their personal lives, such as trying new and adventurous activities or pursuing unconventional careers. Others may take financial risks, such as investing in high-risk stocks or starting their own businesses. Regardless of the type of risk, some people find the experience exhilarating and fulfilling. Vulnerability, on the other hand, refers to the state of being open and exposed to emotional or physical harm. Vulnerability can arise from many different situations, such as opening up to a loved one about one's deepest fears or anxieties, or taking a public stance on a controversial issue. For some people, the act of being vulnerable can be liberating, as it allows them to confront their fears and express themselves more authentically. Overall, the quote suggests that there are people who thrive on risk and vulnerability, finding happiness and fulfillment in these experiences. However, it's important to note that not everyone enjoys or benefits from risk-taking or vulnerability in the same way, and that everyone has their own unique preferences and thresholds for what they are willing to take on. Living space. A living space is created for living and inspiring others. The quote "a living space is created for living and inspiring others" suggests that a home or living space should not only serve the practical purpose of providing shelter and comfort, but it should also be a place where people can feel inspired and creative. The first part of the quote, "a living space is created for living," emphasizes the importance of a home being functional and livable. This means that the space should be designed to meet the needs and requirements of those who will be living in it, providing a comfortable and safe environment for daily life. The second part of the quote, "and inspiring others," suggests that a living space can also be a source of inspiration and creativity for its inhabitants and visitors. This means that the design and layout of the space should encourage creativity, foster a sense of community, and create a positive atmosphere that encourages people to connect and share their ideas. Overall, the quote encourages people to view their living spaces as more than just a place to sleep and eat, but also as a place where they can connect with others and feel inspired to live their best lives. Political. An intellectual is political when one becomes dumb or idiotic. The quote "an intellectual is political when one becomes dumb or idiotic" implies that when intellectuals become disconnected from political and social realities, they lose their ability to be truly intelligent and insightful. In other words, true intellectualism requires an awareness of and engagement with the social and political issues of the day. At its core, intellectualism is about critical thinking and analysis, using reason and logic to understand complex issues and ideas. However, this kind of thinking cannot exist in a vacuum, it must be grounded in an understanding of the world around us. Intellectuals who remain isolated from the broader social and political context risk losing touch with the reality of people's lives and the issues that matter to them. Moreover, by failing to engage with politics, intellectuals also risk becoming irrelevant. Politics is the arena in which decisions are made that have a direct impact on people's lives, and to ignore or dismiss it is to abdicate one's responsibility as an intellectual. Those who become disconnected from politics risk becoming dumb or idiotic in the sense that they lose their ability to speak to the concerns and aspirations of ordinary people. To be truly intellectual, then, requires a commitment to engaging with the world around us and to speaking truth to power. This means being politically engaged, speaking out against injustice, and working towards a more just and equitable society. It also means being willing to listen to and learn from others, particularly those who are most marginalized and oppressed. In summary, the quote "an intellectual is political," when one becomes dumb or idiotic, suggests that intellectualism requires engagement with politics and social issues in order to remain relevant and insightful. By remaining disconnected from the world around us, intellectuals risk losing touch with reality and becoming irrelevant. Earth centers. Earth centers are the seeds of regeneration in the path of destruction caused by people since existence. Note, Earth centers are conceptualized and being promoted by the author. The quote "Earth centers are the seeds of regeneration in the path of destruction caused by people since existence" suggests that the establishment of Earth centers is a way to mitigate the destructive impact of humans on the planet. An Earth Center can be thought of as a place or organization that focuses on sustainable living, environmental protection, and regeneration of the natural world. Humans have caused immense damage to the planet through activities such as deforestation, pollution, overfishing, and climate change. This has led to a loss of biodiversity, habitat destruction, and a decline in the overall health of the planet's ecosystems. The quote suggests that Earth centers can help to counteract this damage by promoting practices and technologies that are in harmony with the natural world. Earth centers can take many forms, including permaculture farms, eco-villages, environmental education centers, and conservation organizations. They often prioritize the use of renewable resources, such as solar and wind power, and strive to minimize waste and pollution. Earth centers also focus on promoting sustainable agriculture, forestry, and fishing practices that support the health of the planet's ecosystems. The idea behind the quote is that the establishment of these Earth centers is like planting seeds of hope and regeneration in the midst of a path of destruction caused by humans. By promoting sustainable practices and technologies, Earth centers can help to heal the damage that has been done and create a more sustainable and harmonious relationship between humans and the natural world. Earth centers can help to plant seeds of hope and regeneration in a world that has been damaged by human activity. Limits to ownership. One can take something from me, but one cannot vacate the earth. The quote "one can take something from me, but one cannot vacate the earth" suggests that while people may be able to take away possessions or other things that are important to us, they cannot take away the fundamental fact that we exist on this planet and have a right to be here. At its core, this quote speaks to the resilience and strength of the human spirit. Even when we face difficult or challenging situations, we are still here, still alive, and still able to persevere. No matter what happens, we cannot be completely defeated, because we are still a part of this world and have the power to make a positive impact on it. The quote also suggests that material possessions are ultimately less important than our connection to the earth and to each other. While we may attach great value to our possessions, they are ultimately transient and can be taken away or lost. Our connection to the earth, on the other hand, is constant and unchanging. It reminds us that we are all part of something larger than ourselves and that our actions have a real impact on the world around us. In a broader sense, the quote can also be interpreted as a call to action. It suggests that we have a responsibility to take care of the earth and to ensure that it remains a place where we can all live and thrive. It reminds us that our actions have consequences, and that we must work together to protect the planet and create a better future for all people. Wisdom. Wisdom may not be in tons but in ounces. The quote "wisdom may not be in tons but in ounces" suggests that wisdom is not necessarily measured by the quantity of knowledge or information that a person possesses, but rather by the quality of their insights and the depth of their understanding. To understand this quote, it's important to first define what we mean by wisdom. Wisdom is often thought of as a combination of knowledge, experience, and good judgment. It involves being able to make wise decisions, see situations from multiple perspectives, and understand the consequences of our actions. It's a deeper level of understanding than just knowing facts or information. So when the quote says that wisdom may not be in tons but in ounces, it's suggesting that having a lot of knowledge or information does not necessarily equate to having wisdom. Instead, wisdom is more about the quality of what we know and how we apply it. For example, a person who has read every book in the library may have a lot of knowledge, but if they don't have the ability to apply that knowledge in a meaningful way, they may not be considered wise. On the other hand, someone who has had a few profound experiences and gained insights from them may have less knowledge overall, but their understanding and ability to apply those insights may be considered more valuable. In essence, the quote is suggesting that wisdom is not about the quantity of information or knowledge we possess, but rather about the quality of our insights and our ability to apply them in a meaningful way. It's about understanding the world around us and using that understanding to make wise decisions and navigate life's challenges. Farming. Farming is my pride. The quote "farming is my pride" is a statement that emphasizes the importance of agriculture and the role it plays in society. At its core, it speaks to the idea that farming is not just a job or a means of making a living, but a way of life that is deeply connected to a person's identity and sense of purpose. For many people who work in agriculture, farming is more than just a career, it is a passion, a calling, and a source of pride. Farmers often see themselves as stewards of the land, responsible for producing the food and fiber that sustains our communities and our way of life. They take great pride in the work they do, and are dedicated to providing high-quality products that are safe, nutritious, and sustainable. There are many reasons why people may feel proud to be farmers. For some, it may be the sense of accomplishment that comes with growing crops or raising livestock. For others, it may be the satisfaction of providing for their families and contributing to their local communities. Still, others may see farming as a way to preserve traditional knowledge and cultural heritage, or to promote environmental sustainability and stewardship. In addition to these personal reasons, there are also many societal benefits to agriculture that make it a source of pride for many people. Agriculture is essential to global food security, and plays a vital role in supporting rural economies and communities around the world. By producing food and fiber sustainably, farmers are helping to ensure that future generations will have access to the resources they need to thrive. Overall, the quote "farming is my pride" speaks to the deep connection between people and the land, and the important role that agriculture plays in sustaining our communities and our way of life. It reminds us of the hard work and dedication that farmers put into their craft, and the many benefits that come from supporting this essential industry. Mother Earth. Mother Earth and biological mother are two mothers for everyone. The moment umbilical cord is cut from mother, it is connected to the earth to live. The quote "Mother Earth and biological mother are two mothers for everyone. The moment umbilical cord is cut from mother, it is connected to the earth to live" is a powerful statement that highlights the interconnection between human beings and the natural world. At its core, the quote suggests that human beings have two primary sources of nurturing and sustenance: our biological mothers who give birth to us, and the earth itself, which provides us with the resources we need to survive and thrive. Just as we depend on our biological mothers for nourishment and protection during our early stages of development, we also rely on the natural world for food, water, shelter, and other basic necessities throughout our lives. The quote also emphasizes the idea that our connection to the earth is fundamental and unbreakable. The moment our umbilical cord is cut from our biological mothers, we are immediately connected to the earth in a very real and tangible way. Our bodies and our lives are sustained by the natural world, and we are inextricably bound to the cycles of nature. Moreover, the quote suggests that we have a responsibility to treat the earth with the same love, care, and respect that we would give to our biological mothers. We must recognize that our actions have real and lasting impacts on the natural world, and we must work to ensure that we are living in harmony with the environment, rather than exploiting it for our own gain. Overall, the quote "Mother Earth and biological mother are two mothers for everyone. The moment umbilical cord is cut from mother, it is connected to the earth to live" is a reminder of the importance of our connection to the natural world and the responsibility we have to care for it. It highlights the idea that just as our biological mothers nourish us in our early years, the earth sustains us throughout our lives, and we must work to protect and preserve this vital relationship for the benefit of ourselves and future generations. Farmer. Farmer is the saint, food is God. This quote reflects the central role that farmers and food play in human society. The quote highlights the importance of agriculture and food production as a source of sustenance, health, and well-being for people all around the world. The first part of the quote, "Farmer is the saint," emphasizes the vital role that farmers play in providing food for their communities. Farmers work hard to cultivate crops, raise livestock, and produce other food products, often in challenging conditions and with limited resources. They must be knowledgeable about the land, weather patterns, and other factors that affect food production, and they must be skilled in a variety of farming techniques and practices. At the same time, farmers are often deeply connected to their communities and are committed to providing healthy, nutritious food for their neighbors and fellow citizens. They are often seen as selfless, hard-working individuals who contribute to the well-being of their communities in many different ways. In this sense, the farmer as saint metaphor emphasizes the importance of humility, hard work, and community service in the farming profession. The second part of the quote, "Food is God," highlights the critical role that food plays in sustaining life and promoting health and well-being. Food is not only a source of nourishment and energy, but it is also a symbol of culture, tradition, and identity. Different regions and communities have their own unique food cultures, and food is often associated with important rituals and celebrations. In many cultures, food is also seen as a gift from the divine. The idea that food is God reflects the belief that food is a sacred gift that should be treated with reverence and respect. This perspective underscores the importance of sustainable food production practices that are respectful of the land, the environment, and the needs of future generations. In summary, the quote "Farmer is the saint, food is God" underscores the central role that agriculture and food play in human society. It highlights the importance of farmers as stewards of the land and providers of healthy, nutritious food, and it emphasizes the sacred nature of food as a gift from the divine. Gods. Would believe in one more God for peace, rather disagreeing with someone that this is the only God. The quote "I would believe in one more God for peace, rather than disagreeing with someone that this is the only God" speaks to the idea that promoting peace and harmony between individuals and groups should be a priority, even if it means being open to the possibility of multiple belief systems. At its core, this quote emphasizes the importance of tolerance and understanding in fostering peaceful relationships. It suggests that the desire for peace and unity should be strong enough to allow for a degree of flexibility in one's beliefs and perspectives. The quote implies that it is more important to find common ground with others, even if it means accepting the possibility of multiple religious or spiritual paths, rather than being rigidly attached to one's own beliefs and creating division and conflict. The quote also touches on the idea that religion can be a powerful force for good, but it can also be a source of division and conflict. Religious beliefs often have deep roots in a person's identity and can be tied to cultural and historical narratives that can sometimes create tensions between groups with different beliefs. However, this quote suggests that instead of focusing on differences, people should strive to find common ground and build bridges of understanding, even if it means being open to the possibility of different belief systems. In essence, this quote is a call for unity and peace, even if it means being open to the possibility of multiple gods or belief systems. It emphasizes the importance of tolerance, understanding, and cooperation in building strong and harmonious relationships, and suggests that a willingness to embrace diversity can be a powerful tool in promoting peace and social harmony. Belief in God. Belief in God is because of the real things which made one exist. The quote "Belief in God is because of the real things which made one exist" suggests that the belief in God is a result of the real, tangible experiences and phenomena that make up one's existence. In other words, the belief in God is not just a matter of blind faith or wishful thinking, but rather a response to the reality of the world around us. There are several ways to interpret this quote, depending on one's beliefs and perspective. For example, a religious person might interpret it as a confirmation of their belief in a divine creator who is responsible for the existence of the universe and all living beings. They might see the beauty and complexity of the natural world as evidence of God's handiwork, and believe that their own existence is proof of God's existence. On the other hand, a secular or atheist person might interpret the quote as a reminder that the world we live in is the result of natural processes and scientific principles. They might see the laws of physics, chemistry, and biology as the real things that have made our existence possible, and reject the need for a supernatural explanation. It's worth noting that there are many different interpretations of the concept of God, and not all religious people believe in a creator deity or supernatural being. Some may see God as a metaphor for the interconnectedness of all things, or as a way to express their awe and wonder at the mysteries of the universe. Ultimately, the quote belief in God is because of the real things which made one exist invites us to consider the ways in which our beliefs are shaped by our experiences and perceptions of the world. Whether we believe in God or not, our understanding of the nature of existence is deeply intertwined with our own personal experiences and the realities of the world around us. Life. Life is happiness. The quote "life is happiness" suggests that happiness is the ultimate goal of life and that life's purpose is to experience and enjoy happiness. Happiness is a positive emotional state characterized by feelings of joy, contentment, and fulfillment. It is often associated with positive experiences, such as love, friendship, success, and achievement. However, the idea that life is solely about happiness can be somewhat oversimplified. Life is a complex and multifaceted experience that involves a wide range of emotions, including sadness, frustration, and disappointment, as well as happiness. It is important to acknowledge and embrace the full range of human emotions and experiences, rather than trying to minimize or ignore those that are perceived as negative. Moreover, happiness is not a constant state, and it is not something that can be pursued or attained through external means alone. Happiness is a subjective experience that is influenced by a wide range of factors, including genetics, personality, life circumstances, and individual perceptions and attitudes. While external factors such as wealth, status, and material possessions can contribute to happiness to some extent, they are not necessarily the most important or sustainable sources of happiness. Ultimately, the pursuit of happiness is a deeply personal and individualistic journey that requires self-awareness, mindfulness, and a commitment to personal growth and well-being. It involves cultivating a sense of gratitude, developing meaningful relationships, engaging in activities that bring joy and fulfillment, and finding purpose and meaning in one's life. In conclusion, while the quote "life is happiness" highlights the importance of happiness in life, it is important to recognize that happiness is just one aspect of a rich and meaningful human experience. A fulfilling and satisfying life involves embracing the full range of human emotions and experiences and pursuing personal growth and well-being in a holistic and balanced way. Education. Education should inculcate sharing and compassion among students, but not the winners and supremacy over other students. The quote "education should inculcate sharing and compassion among students, but not the winners and supremacy over other students" speaks to the importance of cultivating a sense of empathy and kindness in students, while avoiding the harmful effects of competition and a focus on winning. When education is focused solely on competition and the pursuit of individual success, it can lead to a divisive and cutthroat environment where students are pitted against one another in a race to be the best. This can create a sense of winners and losers, where some students feel superior to others and those who are deemed losers may feel demoralized and discouraged. Instead, the focus should be on creating a collaborative and supportive learning environment that emphasizes the importance of sharing, cooperation, and compassion. Students should be encouraged to work together and help one another, rather than solely focusing on their own individual achievements. This approach to education has several benefits. First, it helps to create a sense of community and belonging, where students feel valued and supported by their peers. This can lead to increased motivation and engagement in learning, as well as a sense of responsibility towards others. Secondly, it helps to foster important social-emotional skills like empathy, kindness, and cooperation. These skills are not only important for personal growth and development, but they also have practical applications in the real world, such as in the workplace and in interpersonal relationships. Lastly, by focusing on sharing and compassion, rather than winners and supremacy, we can create a more inclusive and equitable learning environment that values diversity and encourages everyone to participate and contribute. This can lead to a more just and compassionate society, where everyone has the opportunity to thrive and succeed. Righteousness. Righteousness varies with time and prevailing conditions. Principles based on truth and reasoning need to be an individual's path. The quote "righteousness varies with time and prevailing conditions" Principles based on truth and reasoning need to be an individual's path suggests that what is considered to be morally right or righteous can vary depending on the time period and the prevailing conditions in a particular society. It emphasizes the importance of individuals making decisions based on their own principles and beliefs, rather than blindly following what is considered to be morally right by society. Throughout history, what has been considered to be righteous or moral behavior has changed significantly. For example, practices such as slavery and gender inequality were once considered to be morally acceptable in many societies, but are now widely regarded as unjust and immoral. Similarly, some societies have had different views on issues such as same-sex relationships, abortion, and the treatment of animals. The quote suggests that the idea of righteousness or morality can change over time and can be influenced by the prevailing social, cultural, and political conditions of a particular society. It highlights the importance of individuals forming their own principles and beliefs based on truth and reasoning, rather than simply following the accepted norms of their society. Principles based on truth and reasoning are universal and timeless, and can provide a solid foundation for individuals to make decisions and take action in their lives. This approach emphasizes critical thinking, rationality, and individual agency, and encourages individuals to question and challenge prevailing norms and values. In summary, the quote righteousness varies with time and prevailing conditions. Principles based on truth and reasoning need to be an individual's path suggests that individuals should base their decisions and actions on their own principles and beliefs, rather than blindly following the norms of their society. It emphasizes the importance of critical thinking and individual agency, and highlights the fact that what is considered to be morally right can change over time and can be influenced by social, cultural, and political conditions. Madness. Only mad people can be really happy, even without a reason. The quote "only mad people can be really happy, even without a reason" suggests that it is only those who are mad or mentally unstable who are capable of experiencing true happiness without any external reason or justification. In other words, the quote implies that only those who are not bound by societal norms or expectations are able to experience a pure and unadulterated sense of happiness. There are several ways to interpret this quote, and different people may have different opinions on its meaning. Here are a few possible explanations. 1. Happiness is often tied to external factors. One possible interpretation of this quote is that happiness is often tied to external factors such as success, wealth, or relationships. People often feel happy when they achieve a goal, receive a promotion, or have a positive experience with friends or family. However, these external factors are often fleeting, and happiness can be difficult to sustain in the absence of these factors. Those who are mad or mentally unstable may not be as affected by these external factors, and therefore may be able to experience a more enduring sense of happiness that is not tied to any specific external event. 2. Society imposes limits on our happiness. Another interpretation of this quote is that societal norms and expectations can limit our ability to experience happiness. Society often imposes certain expectations on individuals, such as the need to conform to social norms, achieve success, or meet certain standards of behavior. These expectations can create pressure and anxiety, which can make it difficult for individuals to experience true happiness. Those who are mad or mentally unstable may not be as constrained by these expectations, and may be able to experience a more authentic sense of happiness that is not limited by social norms or expectations. 3. Happiness requires a certain level of irrationality. A third interpretation of this quote is that happiness requires a certain level of irrationality or lack of concern for logic or reason. People often try to rationalize their emotions and behaviors, and may feel guilty or ashamed for experiencing emotions such as happiness or joy without any clear reason or justification. Those who are mad or mentally unstable may be less concerned with logic or reason, and may be able to experience happiness without feeling the need to justify or rationalize it. Overall, the quote "only mad people can be really happy, even without a reason" suggests that there may be something liberating or freeing about being able to experience happiness without any external justification or reason. However, it is important to note that mental illness should not be romanticized or idealized, and that there are many ways to experience happiness and fulfillment in life that do not require a departure from societal norms or expectations. Teacher. A kind teacher made us be afraid of the subject rather than the teacher. The quote, "A kind teacher made us be afraid of the subject." Rather, the teacher suggests that a teacher who is perceived as being kind or nice can sometimes inadvertently create fear or aversion towards a particular subject. This may happen because the teacher is not able to effectively convey the subject matter in a way that engages or motivates the student, or because the teacher is perceived as not having high expectations or standards for the students in the class. There are several reasons why this might happen. Firstly, a kind teacher may be more inclined to use a teaching style that is too lenient or permissive, which can lead to a lack of structure or discipline in the classroom. This can make it difficult for students to focus and engage with the material, and can lead to a sense of apathy or disinterest. Secondly, a kind teacher may be reluctant to push students outside of their comfort zones or challenge them to think critically or creatively about the subject matter. This can make the learning process feel stagnant or unchallenging, which can in turn lead to boredom or disengagement. Lastly, a kind teacher may not have the necessary expertise or passion for the subject matter to effectively convey its importance or relevance to the students. Without a clear sense of why the subject is important or interesting, students may struggle to see its value or relevance to their lives. Overall, while kindness and compassion are important traits for any teacher to possess, it's also important for teachers to balance this with high expectations and a rigorous approach to teaching. By doing so, they can create an environment that is both supportive and challenging, and that fosters a love of learning and a deep understanding of the subject matter. Enemy. A snake is the enemy of a rat and an eagle is the enemy of a snake. People are sympathetic about the rat and consider eagle as the hero. Without rat in the scenario, can we be sympathetic to the snake? The quote, "A snake is the enemy of a rat and an eagle is the enemy of a snake," illustrates the dynamic of predator and prey in nature. In this example, the snake is the predator and the rat is the prey, while the eagle is the predator and the snake is the prey. The second part of the quote, "People are sympathetic about the rat and consider the eagle as the hero," highlights the fact that humans tend to empathize with the underdog or the victim. In this scenario, the rat is seen as vulnerable and helpless, while the eagle is seen as powerful and majestic. As a result, people tend to sympathize with the rat and see the eagle as the hero. However, the question of whether people can be sympathetic to the snake without the rat in the scenario is an interesting one. On one hand, snakes are often associated with negative qualities such as deception, danger, and fear, which may make it difficult for people to feel sympathetic towards them. Additionally, snakes are often portrayed as villains in literature and media, further reinforcing negative associations. On the other hand, it is possible for people to feel sympathetic towards the snake if they are able to see the world from its perspective. For example, the snake may be seen as a creature simply trying to survive and feed its young, just like the rat or the eagle. Additionally, if the snake is perceived as being threatened or vulnerable, such as by habitat destruction or human intervention, people may be more likely to feel sympathy towards it. In conclusion, while humans tend to empathize with the underdog and view predators like the eagle as heroes, it is possible to feel sympathetic towards the snake if one is able to see the world from its perspective and understand the challenges it faces. However, overcoming negative associations and biases towards snakes may require a shift in perspective and a greater understanding of their role in the ecosystem. Partners. Partners for understanding priorities and for sharing responsibilities. The quote, "Partners for understanding priorities and for sharing responsibilities," emphasizes the importance of collaboration and cooperation in achieving common goals. In any partnership or relationship, it's essential to have a shared understanding of what the priorities are and to work together to achieve them. This can apply to personal relationships, business partnerships, and even global efforts to address complex challenges like climate change or poverty. Understanding priorities involves taking the time to listen to each other, communicate openly and honestly, and identify the shared values and goals that underpin the partnership. When partners have a clear understanding of what's most important to each other, they can work together more effectively to achieve their shared objectives. Sharing responsibilities means taking ownership of the tasks and challenges that are required to achieve the shared goals. It means recognizing that no single person or organization can achieve success on their own and that success requires a collective effort. When partners share responsibilities, they can leverage each other's strengths and expertise to achieve the best possible outcomes. Partnerships that are built on understanding priorities and sharing responsibilities are often more resilient and sustainable in the long run. When partners are committed to working together in this way, they are better able to navigate challenges and adapt to changing circumstances. They are also more likely to build trust and mutual respect, which can lead to more meaningful and effective collaboration over time. In summary, the quote "Partners for Understanding Priorities and for Sharing Responsibilities" highlights the importance of collaboration, communication, and collective action in achieving shared goals. When partners work together in this way, they can achieve more than they could on their own and create a more positive impact in their communities and beyond. Commitment. A relationship is an appeasement, marriage is a commitment. The quote "A relationship is an appeasement, marriage is a commitment" highlights the difference between a romantic relationship and the institution of marriage. In a romantic relationship, the focus is often on creating a sense of harmony and appeasing each other's needs and desires. It's a more casual and flexible arrangement that can be entered into without the same level of commitment and expectations as marriage. Couples in a romantic relationship may compromise or sacrifice certain things to please their partner, and there may be a greater emphasis on enjoying each other's company and having fun together. On the other hand, marriage is a legally binding commitment that involves a more serious and long-term commitment to each other. It's a formal agreement that requires a higher level of commitment and responsibility from both partners. When two people decide to get married, they are making a public declaration of their commitment to each other, and they are taking on legal and social obligations that come with the institution of marriage. In a marriage, the focus is on building a life together, sharing responsibilities, and making decisions as a team. There is less emphasis on appeasing each other's needs and desires, and more emphasis on working together to build a stable and fulfilling life together. This often involves making sacrifices and compromises, but these decisions are made with the long-term health of the marriage in mind. Overall, while both romantic relationships and marriage involve a level of commitment, the quote suggests that marriage requires a higher level of commitment and responsibility than a romantic relationship. In a marriage, couples are making a lifelong commitment to each other, and they must work together to build a strong and lasting partnership. Depth. A notion of partnership, having a depth of relationship. The quote "A notion of partnership, having a depth of relationship" is an expression that speaks to the importance of building strong and lasting relationships, whether in personal or professional settings. The metaphor of a notion is often used to evoke the idea of vastness and depth, as well as a sense of fluidity and movement. In this case, the phrase "a notion of partnership" suggests the idea of a partnership that is expansive, open, and abundant. The second part of the quote, "having a depth of relationship," further emphasizes the importance of building strong and meaningful connections. The word depth suggests a sense of richness, complexity, and intimacy, which are essential qualities in any healthy relationship. By combining the ideas of abundance and depth, the quote suggests that a strong partnership involves both quantity and quality, a broad range of connections and interactions, as well as deep and meaningful engagement with others. In a business context, the quote speaks to the importance of building strong partnerships with clients, suppliers, and other stakeholders. By creating a network of strong and mutually beneficial relationships, businesses can create a solid foundation for growth, innovation, and success. This requires a commitment to open communication, collaboration, and trust, as well as a willingness to invest time, effort, and resources into building and maintaining these relationships over the long term. In a personal context, the quote speaks to the importance of building strong and meaningful relationships with friends, family, and loved ones. By creating a network of supportive and caring relationships, individuals can find emotional fulfillment, support, and happiness in their lives. This requires a willingness to be vulnerable, to listen deeply, and to invest time and effort into building and maintaining these relationships over time. Overall, the quote "A notion of partnership, having a depth of relationship" emphasizes the importance of building strong and meaningful connections with others, both in business and in life. By creating a network of abundant and deep partnerships, individuals and organizations can create a strong foundation for success, growth, and fulfillment. Desire. I am the flame of burning desire to live. The quote "I am the flame of burning desire to live" is a powerful statement about the strength of human will and the importance of having a strong sense of purpose and motivation in life. It suggests that the speaker is driven by a deep and intense desire to live their life to the fullest and to achieve their goals and dreams. The metaphor of a flame is often used to represent passion, intensity, and energy. A flame burns brightly and fiercely, providing warmth and light to those around it. In this quote, The speaker is comparing themselves to a flame, implying that they possess a similar level of passion, intensity, and energy in their approach to life. The phrase burning desire is also significant, as it suggests a strong and persistent longing for something. The speaker is not simply content to go through the motions of life, they have a deep and profound desire to achieve something significant and meaningful. Overall, this quote is a testament to the power of human motivation and the importance of having a clear sense of purpose in life. It encourages us to be passionate, driven, and determined in our pursuit of our goals and to never lose sight of the flame of burning desire that fuels our ambitions. Sex. A unique culmination of selflessness and self between two opposite beings is the act of sex. The quote, "A unique culmination of selflessness and self between two opposite beings is the act of sex," suggests that the act of sexual intercourse involves a combination of both selflessness and self-interest between two individuals who are fundamentally different from one another. At its core, sex is an intimate act of physical and emotional connection between two people. In this act, each individual is able to experience a sense of selflessness by giving themselves to their partner and engaging in a shared experience that is mutually pleasurable. This selflessness can manifest in a variety of ways, such as by prioritizing the needs and desires of one's partner over one's own, or by being attentive and responsive to their partner's physical and emotional cues. At the same time, sex also involves a sense of self-interest and self-expression. Each person brings their own desires, preferences, and needs to the act, and their individuality is expressed through their unique way of engaging in the experience. This self-interest can be seen in a variety of ways, such as through the pursuit of pleasure, the expression of one's own identity and desires, or the desire for intimacy and connection with another person. The quote also suggests that the act of sex is a unique culmination of these two opposing forces, selflessness and self-interest, in a way that is both meaningful and profound. By engaging in sexual intercourse, individuals are able to simultaneously connect with another person in a selfless act of giving while also expressing their own desires and needs in a way that is intimate and deeply personal. It's worth noting that the balance between selflessness and self-interest in sex can vary depending on the individuals involved and the nature of their relationship. In some cases, sex may be primarily selfless, with each person focusing on their partner's pleasure and well-being. In other cases, sex may be primarily self-interested, with each person focused on their own pleasure and satisfaction. However, in most cases, sex involves a unique combination of both selflessness and self-interest that creates a sense of intimacy and connection between two individuals. Fear and devotion. A serpent is feared, fear leads to reverence, reverence leads to devotion. The quote, "A serpent is feared, fear leads to reverence, reverence leads to devotion," suggests that fear is a powerful emotion that can lead to a deeper sense of respect and devotion. In the context of the quote, the serpent is seen as a symbol of fear and danger. Serpents have been associated with danger and death in many cultures, and the fear they inspire is often rooted in a deep instinctual response to a potential threat. According to the quote, when we are confronted with something that inspires fear, our natural response is to show reverence or respect for it. This may be because we recognize the power and danger of the object or situation and feel the need to approach it with caution and respect. This reverence can then lead to a deeper sense of devotion, as we begin to recognize the importance or significance of the object or situation in our lives. In many religious and spiritual traditions, fear is often seen as a precursor to devotion. Fear of God, for example, can be seen as a way to inspire reverence and respect for a higher power. This reverence can then lead to a deeper sense of devotion and commitment to living a certain way or following certain practices. The quote can also be interpreted more broadly as a commentary on the power of fear and its ability to shape our beliefs and behaviors. Fear can be a powerful motivator, driving us to take action or to change our ways. However, it can also be a negative force, leading us to make irrational decisions or to act out of self-preservation rather than compassion or empathy. Overall, the quote suggests that fear, while often seen as a negative emotion, can be a powerful tool for inspiring respect and devotion. However, it also warns us to be cautious of the ways in which fear can shape our beliefs and actions and to strive for a deeper understanding of the objects and situations that inspire our fear. Great hero. A great hero is existing because there is a bigger villain to tackle, and both become historic. The quote, "A great hero is existing because there is a bigger villain to tackle, and both become historic," suggests that heroes and villains are two sides of the same coin, and that their actions and achievements are interdependent. According to this perspective, Great heroes only emerge when there are significant challenges or threats that they need to overcome, and these challenges are often represented by powerful and compelling villains. One interpretation of this quote is that it highlights the importance of context in shaping our perceptions of heroic and villainous actions. Without a compelling antagonist to overcome, a hero's actions may seem less impressive or meaningful. It is only when the hero is faced with a formidable foe that their actions become truly heroic and historic. At the same time, the quote also suggests that villains play an important role in shaping history and the cultural imagination. Just as heroes are defined by their opposition to villains, villains are defined by their opposition to heroes. In some cases, villains may even be celebrated for their cunning or their ability to challenge the hero, even if their actions are ultimately seen as destructive or morally reprehensible. Ultimately, the quote suggests that heroes and villains are two sides of a dynamic and evolving cultural narrative, and that their actions and achievements are shaped by the historical and cultural context in which they occur. Without villains to challenge them, heroes may never achieve their full potential, and without heroes to oppose them, villains may never be recognized as such. It is the interplay between these two forces that gives rise to historic and memorable narratives, and that shapes our understanding of heroism, villainy, and the human experience more broadly. Happiness. You can know you are truly happy only when everyone around is happy. The quote "You can know you are truly happy only when everyone around is happy" suggests that true happiness is not something that can be achieved solely through personal gain or individual success. Rather, it is something that is shared and experienced together with others. When we are happy, we often want to share that happiness with others, and seeing others happy can in turn increase our own happiness. This is because happiness is not just an individual emotion, but also a social one. Our emotions and experiences are shaped by the people around us, and our happiness is influenced by the happiness of those we interact with. In other words, true happiness is not just a state of mind, but a state of being in which we are connected to and empathetic towards others. When we care about the well-being of those around us and actively seek to contribute to their happiness, we create a positive feedback loop that can lead to greater happiness and fulfillment for everyone. Moreover, the quote suggests that true happiness is not something that can be achieved at the expense of others. If we are truly happy, we will not want to see others suffering or unhappy, but rather will seek to lift them up and contribute to their well-being as well. This is because happiness is not a finite resource, but rather something that can be shared and multiplied. In summary, the quote "You can know you are truly happy only when everyone around is happy" highlights the importance of empathy, connection, and community in achieving true happiness. It suggests that our own happiness is inextricably linked to the happiness of those around us, and that true happiness is something that is shared and experienced together with others. Heroes. A soldier losing his life for a nation becomes a national hero. For the enemy nation, the killer becomes the hero of that nation. Both the people are heroes either way. The quote, "A soldier losing his life for a nation becomes a national hero. For the enemy nation, the killer becomes the hero of that nation. Both the people are heroes either way" highlights the fact that heroism and valor are often subjective and depend on one's perspective and context. From the perspective of the nation that the soldier is fighting for, the soldier who sacrifices their life in defense of their country is often regarded as a hero. This is because the soldier is seen as putting the needs and interests of their country above their own, and their sacrifice is viewed as a noble act that serves the greater good of the nation. The soldier is often celebrated and honored for their bravery, and their name is etched into the annals of their country's history as a symbol of patriotism and sacrifice. However, from the perspective of the enemy nation, the soldier who killed their fellow countrymen is often regarded as a hero. This is because the soldier is seen as defending their own country and fighting for their own people, and their actions are viewed as necessary to protect their own nation's interests. The killer is often celebrated and honored as a brave warrior who was willing to risk their own life for their country, and their name is also remembered as a symbol of valor and patriotism. So, in essence, the quote is suggesting that heroism is not necessarily determined by one's actions, but rather by one's context and perspective. Both soldiers, the one who died for their country and the one who killed for their country, are regarded as heroes by their respective nations, despite their opposing roles in the conflict. It's a reminder that people's perceptions of heroism and villainy are often influenced by their cultural and national identities, and that there can be multiple sides to any given story. Book. Every line is a quote in a good book. The quote "every line is a quote in a good book" suggests that in a good book, every single line can be viewed as a quote, or a memorable and insightful statement that can be extracted and remembered. This quote implies that in a well-written book, every sentence can hold a deeper meaning and contribute to the overall message or theme of the book. This statement highlights the importance of good writing in creating a memorable and impactful book. A well-crafted book not only tells a compelling story or conveys useful information, but also uses language in a way that resonates with the reader and inspires them to reflect on their own experiences and perspectives. The idea that every line is a quote in a good book also suggests that good writing is not just about the big ideas or overarching themes of a book, but also the smaller details and moments that make up the narrative. Each sentence and phrase contributes to the overall quality of the writing, and can be appreciated and remembered for its own merits. Overall, this quote highlights the importance of careful and thoughtful writing in creating a truly great book, where every line is worthy of being quoted and remembered. It also reminds us of the power of language and the importance of choosing our words carefully in order to convey a message effectively and memorably. Religion. Majority of people believe in respective religion more than the constitution of a country. Constitution is a document for the convenience of current generation, majority, and amendable. All the religious practices may not be justifiable under the given constitutions. Still, religions have brought some order in the society. The quote highlights a tension that exists between religion and secular law. While the Constitution serves as the fundamental law of the land and provides a framework for governance, many people may feel a stronger allegiance to their religious beliefs and traditions. There are a few reasons for this. First, religion often provides a sense of community and belonging that can be lacking in secular institutions. People may feel a strong connection to their religious community and its traditions, which can make it difficult for them to prioritize the laws and regulations of the government over their religious beliefs. Second, religious beliefs are often deeply ingrained in people's identities and sense of morality. Many people see their religion as providing a moral compass and guiding principles for how to live a good life. In some cases, these principles may conflict with the laws of the government, which can create a sense of tension between religious and secular authorities. However, as the quote notes, the Constitution is a document that is amendable and designed to evolve with the changing needs and values of society. While some religious practices may not be justifiable under the Constitution itself provides a framework for addressing these conflicts and reconciling competing interests. Moreover, while religion may sometimes be at odds with secular law, it has also played an important role in shaping social norms and providing a sense of order in society. Many religious practices, such as charity and social justice, are aligned with the values of the Constitution and have contributed to the betterment of society. In summary, the quote suggests that while religion and secular law may sometimes be in conflict, the Constitution provides a framework for addressing these conflicts and reconciling competing interests. While some religious practices may not be justifiable under the Constitution, religion has also played an important role in shaping social norms and providing a sense of order in society. Mother Earth. Wherever one is living, that is on Mother Earth, our only home. All our gods own the universe, the people who believe them exist only on this earth. Gods, do they love humanity or only those humans who believe them? The quote "wherever one is living, that is on Mother Earth, our only home. All our gods own the universe, the people who believe them exist only on this earth. Gods, do they love humanity or only those humans who believe them?" speaks to the idea that regardless of our beliefs or cultural backgrounds, we all share a common home in the form of planet Earth. It also raises questions about the nature of belief in higher powers and their relationship to humanity. The first part of the quote emphasizes the fact that we are all inhabitants of the same planet, regardless of nationality, religion, or other differences. This idea is important because it emphasizes the interconnectedness of all life on Earth and the shared responsibility we have for the well-being of our planet. It also reminds us that the actions we take as individuals and as a society can have a profound impact on the environment and on other people around the world. The second part of the quote suggests that while different cultures may have different gods and beliefs, ultimately all people exist only on Earth. This highlights the fact that religious beliefs are a human construct and that our perception of the universe and our place in it is shaped by our cultural and historical context. The final part of the quote raises questions about the nature of belief in higher powers and their relationship to humanity. It asks whether gods love all of humanity or only those who believe in them. This is a complex and contentious issue that has been debated for centuries by theologians and philosophers. Some argue that gods are universal and love all of humanity, regardless of belief, while others believe that gods favor those who follow their teachings and beliefs. Ultimately, the quote encourages us to reflect on our place in the world and our relationship to others and to the environment. It reminds us that we all share a common home on Mother Earth and that our beliefs and actions have the power to shape the world we live in. Image. I is an externally created image, owned and possessed by the body. The quote I is an externally created image, owned and possessed by the body suggests that our sense of self, or our I identity, is not something that exists independently or inherently within us, but is instead created by external factors and experiences. According to this perspective, the sense of self that we experience is not a fixed or static entity, but is rather something that is constantly in flux and being shaped by our interactions with the world around us. In other words, our sense of self is not something that is inside us, but is rather something that emerges from our interactions with others and with the environment. Moreover, this quote also suggests that our sense of self is not entirely under our control, but is instead owned and possessed by the body. This implies that our physical bodies play an important role in shaping and maintaining our sense of self, and that our experiences of embodiment and physicality are integral to the construction of our identities. Overall, this quote challenges the traditional notion of the self as a stable, autonomous entity that exists independently of the external world, and suggests that our sense of self is instead a dynamic and constantly evolving product of our interactions with the world around us. Ego. Don't make I a monster to drive one's ego. When I fails, it is difficult for ego to continue the existence of I. The quote don't make I a monster to drive one's ego. When I fails, it is difficult for ego to continue the existence of I suggests that one should not let their sense of self, represented by the I, become an overpowering force that drives their ego. Instead, they should maintain a healthy balance between their sense of self and their ego, recognizing that they are interconnected but distinct concepts. The I represents an individual's sense of self, their personal identity, and their unique perspective on the world. It is the part of them that is distinct from others and is responsible for their actions and decisions. The ego, on the other hand, is the part of a person's psyche that is responsible for their sense of self-importance, self-esteem, and self-worth. It is often associated with an inflated sense of self, arrogance, and a desire for recognition and validation. The quote suggests that if one allows their sense of self to become too dominant, it can turn into a monster that drives their ego and leads to negative consequences. When the I fails, which can happen for a variety of reasons, it becomes difficult for the ego to continue its existence because it relies so heavily on the I for its sense of self-worth and validation. In other words, if a person's sense of self is solely based on their accomplishments or external validation, they risk losing their sense of self-worth and confidence when they fail to meet those standards. It is essential to cultivate a healthy sense of self that is not solely reliant on external validation or accomplishments, but rather an internal sense of worth and value. In conclusion, the quote is a reminder to maintain a healthy balance between one's sense of self and ego. By recognizing the interconnectedness of these concepts, one can avoid becoming overly attached to external validation and maintain a healthy sense of self-worth and confidence, even in the face of failure. Crying. Don't pinch a crying baby, to stop crying. The quote "Don't pinch a crying baby, to stop crying" is a simple and straightforward way of conveying a valuable lesson about responding to distress or discomfort in others. The message behind this quote is that when someone is upset or distressed, it is not helpful to respond with aggression or further harm. Instead, it is important to respond with empathy, care, and support. The image of pinching a crying baby is meant to be a metaphor for any action that might cause harm or exacerbate a person's distress. Pinching a baby who is crying will only cause the baby more pain and distress, and it will not address the underlying cause of the crying. Similarly, responding to someone's distress with aggression or harm will only make things worse. In many situations, people who are upset or distressed may simply need someone to listen to them and show them empathy and understanding. This can help to validate their feelings and provide them with a sense of support and comfort. Pinching or harming them in any way will only serve to make them feel more alone and unsupported, which can make their distress even worse. The quote is also a reminder that when we are feeling upset or distressed ourselves, it is important to respond to our own needs with compassion and care. Rather than lashing out or harming ourselves, we should seek out healthy ways to cope with our emotions and take care of ourselves. In short, the quote "Don't pinch a crying baby, to stop crying" is a valuable lesson about responding to distress and discomfort in others with empathy, care, and support, rather than aggression or harm. It serves as a reminder to approach others with kindness and understanding, and to respond to our own needs with compassion and self-care. Hermit. If a spiritual guru is advisor to billionaires, no more a hermit. The quote "If a spiritual guru is an advisor to billionaires, no more a hermit" highlights the idea that when a spiritual guru or teacher becomes an advisor to the rich and powerful, they are no longer living a life of solitude and simplicity, which is often associated with the traditional role of a spiritual teacher. In many spiritual traditions, a guru or teacher is someone who has attained a deep understanding of the nature of reality and can guide others on the path to enlightenment or self-realization. They are often thought of as living a life of detachment and renunciation, free from the distractions and attachments of the material world. This traditional role of a guru or teacher is often associated with the image of a hermit or ascetic, living a life of solitude and simplicity in a remote location. However, when a spiritual guru or teacher becomes an advisor to billionaires, they are often brought into the world of wealth and power, which can be at odds with the traditional role of a spiritual teacher. They may be called upon to offer advice on how to accumulate wealth, manage investments, or navigate the complexities of the business world. This can put them in a position of influence and power, which is often at odds with the idea of detachment and renunciation. Furthermore, the lifestyle and values of the wealthy and powerful can be at odds with the spiritual teachings of the guru or teacher. The pursuit of material wealth and power can be seen as a distraction from the path to enlightenment or self-realization, and the values of consumerism and materialism can be seen as antithetical to the values of simplicity and detachment. In conclusion, the quote "If a spiritual guru is an advisor to billionaires, no more a hermit" suggests that when a spiritual guru or teacher becomes an advisor to the wealthy and powerful, they may be compromising their traditional role as a hermit or ascetic, and may be at risk of losing touch with the values and teachings of their spiritual tradition. Place. Never say bad about a place where one makes a living. The quote "Never say bad about a place where one makes a living" is a reminder to show gratitude and respect for the places that provide us with the means to support ourselves and our families. It's a common courtesy to refrain from speaking negatively about the workplace, even if one is dissatisfied or unhappy with their job. This quote highlights the importance of gratitude and respect in the workplace. When we are employed, we have the opportunity to earn a living and provide for ourselves and our loved ones. This is a privilege that should not be taken for granted. By showing appreciation for our jobs, we can cultivate a positive work environment and build stronger relationships with our colleagues. Furthermore, speaking negatively about the place where we make a living can have negative consequences. It can create a toxic work environment and damage our professional reputation. Employers and co-workers may view negative comments as a lack of commitment or loyalty, which can impact our career advancement opportunities. Instead of speaking negatively about our workplace, we can focus on finding ways to improve our job satisfaction. This may involve having open and honest conversations with our colleagues or employers, seeking out new opportunities for growth and development, or finding ways to better manage our workload and stress levels. In summary, the quote "Never say bad about a place where one makes a living" is a reminder to show gratitude and respect for the places that provide us with employment and a means to support ourselves. By focusing on gratitude and finding ways to improve our job satisfaction, we can create a positive work environment and build stronger relationships with our colleagues. Perception. Image of I as perceived by others is not complete, even oneself cannot fully perceive the image of I. The quote "The image of I as perceived by others is not complete, even oneself cannot fully perceive the image of I" highlights the idea that our self-image is not solely determined by how we see ourselves, but is also shaped by how others perceive us. Additionally, it suggests that even we ourselves may not fully understand or be aware of our own self-image. Our self-image is made up of various factors such as our personality traits, behaviors, beliefs, values, and experiences. However, how we see ourselves may not always align with how others see us. This is because our self-image is often based on our own subjective experiences and perspectives, while others may see us through a different lens, based on their own experiences and perspectives. For example, we may see ourselves as confident and outgoing, while others may see us as reserved and introverted. Furthermore, our self-image is not fixed and can change over time based on our experiences and interactions with others. Our self-image may be influenced by the feedback and reactions we receive from others, as well as our own reflections and self-evaluations. This can result in a more complex and nuanced self-image that is constantly evolving. Even with introspection and self-reflection, it can be difficult to fully understand or perceive our own self-image. This is because our perception of ourselves is often influenced by our biases, blind spots, and unconscious beliefs. Additionally, our self-image may be shaped by factors outside of our awareness, such as societal expectations and cultural norms. In conclusion, the quote suggests that our self-image is not solely determined by our own perceptions of ourselves, but is also influenced by how others perceive us. Furthermore, even with introspection and self-reflection, it can be challenging to fully understand or perceive our own self-image due to the influence of biases and external factors. Therefore, it is important to be open to feedback from others and to engage in ongoing self-reflection in order to gain a more complete understanding of our self-image. Identity. In a crowd, I is insignificant / difference separates I from the mass. The quote "in a crowd, I is insignificant / difference separates I from the mass" suggests that when an individual is part of a large group or crowd, their sense of individuality or personal identity becomes less significant or noticeable. This is because the individual is subsumed within the collective identity of the group, and their actions or thoughts may be influenced by the group's norms or behaviors. The quote also implies that individual differences or uniqueness can distinguish someone from the crowd, highlighting their individuality and making them stand out. These differences could be in terms of beliefs, values, or behaviors that are different from those of the majority of the group. In essence, the quote suggests that in a crowd, an individual's sense of self may be subsumed by the collective identity of the group, but by embracing their unique qualities, individuals can set themselves apart from the group and assert their individuality. Real. I alone is nothing / I is real when nothing is around. This quote suggests that the concept of I or the self is not something that exists in isolation. In other words, it is not something that can be understood or defined solely based on the individual's own perception or existence. Instead, it is dependent on the context and environment in which it exists. The first part of the quote, "I alone is nothing," implies that the self is empty and meaningless without any external reference points. This means that the self is not a fixed, unchanging entity but rather something that is shaped and defined by the experiences, relationships, and interactions that an individual has with the world around them. The second part of the quote, "I is real when nothing is around," suggests that the self becomes more real or authentic in moments of solitude or introspection when there are no external distractions or influences. In these moments of stillness and quietness, the individual is better able to connect with their inner self and gain a deeper understanding of their own thoughts, emotions, and values. Overall, this quote highlights the complex and dynamic nature of the self, emphasizing the importance of both external influences and internal reflection in shaping one's sense of identity and purpose. Story. Without history I is nothing / a story around I makes it exist. The quote "without history I is nothing / a story around I makes it exist" suggests that our sense of identity is strongly connected to the narratives that we construct about ourselves, which are in turn shaped by the events and experiences that make up our personal and collective histories. The first part of the quote, "without history I is nothing," emphasizes the idea that our identity is not something that exists in isolation, but is rather a product of the social and cultural context in which we live. Our sense of self is shaped by the historical forces that have shaped our world, including the cultural and political systems that govern our lives, the technological advances that have transformed our societies, and the social movements and conflicts that have defined our times. The second part of the quote, "a story around I makes it exist," suggests that our sense of identity is not a fixed or immutable thing, but is rather something that is continually evolving and changing over time. Our personal stories and narratives help us make sense of the world around us, and give us a sense of purpose and meaning in life. These stories are shaped by the events and experiences that we encounter, and they play a critical role in helping us understand who we are and what our place is in the world. Taken together, the quote suggests that our identity is not something that we can simply take for granted or assume to be fixed and unchanging. Instead, it is something that is continually being shaped and redefined by the historical forces and personal experiences that make up our lives. By understanding the role that history and personal narrative play in shaping our sense of self, we can gain a deeper appreciation for the complex and dynamic nature of human identity, and for the ways in which our personal stories and histories are intimately intertwined with the larger forces that shape our world. Valuable. In the darkness, I becomes invisible / the light shines the facets of I and makes it valuable. The quote suggests that when we are in a state of darkness or uncertainty, we become invisible to ourselves. The darkness can be interpreted as a metaphor for situations where we lack clarity, guidance or understanding about ourselves and the world around us. In such situations, we may feel lost, confused or disconnected from our own identity and purpose. However, when light shines on us, it illuminates the different facets of our identity and makes us visible again. This can be interpreted as a metaphor for moments of clarity, self-reflection, or external guidance that help us understand ourselves better. The light enables us to see ourselves in a new way and recognize our unique value. The quote also suggests that the light not only makes us visible but also adds value to our identity. When we are in a state of darkness, we may not recognize our own worth or potential. But when the light shines on us, we can see our strengths, talents, and abilities more clearly, and this awareness can help us realize our full potential. Overall, the quote emphasizes the importance of self-reflection, self-awareness, and external guidance in helping us understand ourselves better and recognize our own value. It suggests that even when we feel lost or invisible in the darkness, there is always the possibility of finding the light that will illuminate our true selves. Identity. It is easy to get certificates for the many identities of a person, but no one ever got a certificate as a human being. The quote means that while it is relatively simple to obtain documentation or certifications that establish one's identity as a member of various groups, such as a citizen, employee, or student, there is no official recognition or certification for simply being a human being. In other words, society places great emphasis on categorizing and labeling individuals according to their roles and affiliations, but it often overlooks the essential fact that all people share a common humanity. The quote suggests that the concept of being a human being transcends these labels and is something that cannot be measured or certified in the same way. Furthermore, the quote implies that society places too much value on external validation and recognition, rather than recognizing and celebrating the intrinsic worth of each individual as a human being. By emphasizing the importance of recognizing our shared humanity, the quote encourages us to focus on building connections and relationships with others based on our commonalities rather than our differences. Soul. Listening to soul, inner thoughts, may help one lead an honest life. The quote "listening to soul, inner thoughts, may help one lead an honest life" suggests that being attuned to one's inner thoughts, feelings, and intuition can be a powerful guide towards living a life of honesty and integrity. When we listen to our inner voice or soul, we become more aware of our true intentions and desires. This self-awareness helps us make better decisions that align with our values and beliefs, leading to a more authentic and fulfilling life. It also allows us to recognize and acknowledge our shortcomings, leading to greater humility and a willingness to improve. Moreover, listening to our inner voice helps us develop empathy and understanding towards others, as we become more attuned to our own emotions and thoughts. This can lead to more compassionate and genuine relationships, as we are able to communicate honestly and from the heart. In contrast, ignoring our inner voice can lead to a sense of inner conflict and disconnection, which can manifest as dishonesty and a lack of authenticity in our interactions with others. We may find ourselves compromising our values or telling lies in order to please others or maintain a certain image, rather than being true to ourselves. In summary, listening to our soul can help us live an honest life by increasing our self-awareness, aligning our actions with our values, fostering empathy and compassion, and promoting authenticity in our relationships. Earth. I am Earth, as it is suffering, I too. The quote "I am Earth, as it is suffering, I too" suggests a deep connection between the speaker and the planet Earth. The speaker is implying that they feel a sense of pain or discomfort as they witness the suffering of the planet. The statement "I am Earth" indicates that the speaker sees themselves as intimately connected to the planet. This could mean that they see themselves as a part of the natural world, or that they recognize their reliance on the Earth for survival. The phrase "as it is suffering, I too" suggests that the speaker feels a deep empathy for the planet. They recognize that the Earth is experiencing significant harm due to human actions, such as climate change, deforestation, and pollution. As a result, the speaker feels a personal sense of sadness or discomfort. Overall, the quote speaks to the importance of recognizing our connection to the natural world and the impact that our actions can have on the planet. It suggests that we should strive to live in harmony with the Earth and take steps to protect it, not only for the planet's sake but for our own well-being as well. Leadership. Without inclusiveness, there is no intellect and leadership. As a result, there is unprecedented destruction of the Earth. The quote is highlighting the importance of inclusiveness in the areas of intellect and leadership, and how the lack of inclusiveness can lead to the destruction of the Earth. Inclusiveness refers to the act of including everyone, regardless of their race, gender, sexual orientation, religion, or any other factor that makes them unique. When it comes to intellect, inclusiveness is important because it allows for a diverse range of perspectives and ideas to be considered. This diversity can lead to more comprehensive and innovative solutions to problems. Inclusiveness in leadership means ensuring that all voices are heard and represented in decision-making processes. This can lead to better decision-making and more equitable outcomes. The quote suggests that without inclusiveness, there can be no true intellect or leadership. This means that if certain groups of people are excluded from participating in these areas, their valuable perspectives and ideas are lost. The result can be a narrow and limited approach that may not address the full range of issues or challenges. The quote also suggests that the lack of inclusiveness can lead to unprecedented destruction of the Earth. This may be because an exclusive approach to leadership and intellect may not consider the impact of actions on the environment or on marginalized communities. Inclusiveness, on the other hand, can lead to more holistic and sustainable solutions that take into account the needs of all stakeholders, including the planet. In summary, the quote highlights the importance of inclusiveness in intellect and leadership, and how its absence can lead to destruction. It encourages us to prioritize inclusiveness in these areas to ensure a better future for all. Human being. A humble and simple human being would have left Earth more beautiful and in harmony. The quote suggests that if human beings were more humble and simple, they would have done a better job of taking care of the Earth and leaving it in a more beautiful and harmonious state than it is today. Humble and simple human beings are those who do not have a strong desire for power, wealth, and material possessions. They value simplicity, mindfulness, and living in harmony with nature. They understand the interconnectedness of all living things and recognize the importance of preserving the natural environment. By contrast, many humans today prioritize economic growth, development, and personal gain over environmental protection. This has resulted in environmental degradation, climate change, and loss of biodiversity, among other problems. The quote suggests that if more people embraced simplicity and humility, they would be more likely to make choices that are in harmony with the environment, such as using fewer resources, reducing waste, and respecting the natural world. In conclusion, the quote emphasizes the importance of humility and simplicity in creating a better world for future generations. It encourages us to rethink our priorities and consider the impact of our actions on the environment. Earth. Human supremacy is the cause of destruction on Earth. The quote "human supremacy is the cause of destruction on Earth" implies that humans have positioned themselves as the most superior beings on the planet, which has led to environmental damage and destruction. Human supremacy refers to the belief that humans are at the top of the hierarchy of living beings and have the right to exploit and use other species and the environment for their benefit without considering the long-term consequences. This idea is based on the assumption that humans are the most intelligent and advanced species and are therefore entitled to control and manipulate the natural world. However, this way of thinking has led to over-exploitation of natural resources, deforestation, pollution, and other harmful activities that have disrupted the delicate balance of ecosystems and endangered numerous species. Human activities such as industrialization, urbanization, and agriculture have contributed significantly to climate change, which has resulted in extreme weather events, rising sea levels, and loss of biodiversity. Furthermore, the notion of human supremacy has often been used to justify oppressive and exploitative practices towards marginalized groups, such as indigenous people and animals, who are considered inferior to humans. In summary, the quote suggests that the belief in human supremacy has caused significant damage to the planet and other living beings, and it is imperative to shift towards a more sustainable and equitable way of interacting with the environment and other species. Consensus. A leader empowers everyone around for consensus. The quote "a leader empowers everyone around for consensus" suggests that a successful leader is someone who is able to foster an environment of collaboration and cooperation among team members. Rather than dictating or imposing their own ideas, a good leader facilitates open communication and encourages everyone to share their thoughts and opinions. Empowering everyone around means giving each team member the opportunity to contribute their unique skills and insights to the group. By doing so, a leader creates a sense of ownership and investment in the team's goals and objectives, and helps to build trust and respect among team members. The second part of the quote, "for consensus," highlights the importance of finding common ground and agreement among team members. This doesn't mean that everyone has to agree on everything, but it does mean that everyone's perspective should be heard and considered in the decision-making process. A leader who empowers everyone around for consensus seeks to find solutions that work for the whole group, rather than just a select few. Overall, this quote emphasizes the importance of inclusive leadership that values the input and opinions of every team member, and strives to create a collaborative and supportive work environment where everyone feels empowered to contribute their best work. Peace. A mosquito has limits to sucking blood, sometimes leaving it to suck gives a person more peace than reacting. This quote is an analogy that suggests that sometimes it's better to let things go rather than react impulsively. The mosquito is used as a symbol of a small, irritating problem that has limits to its impact, much like how a mosquito can only suck a limited amount of blood before being satisfied. In this context, the act of sucking blood can represent a range of negative behaviors or situations, such as someone trying to provoke you, or a minor annoyance that is not worth getting worked up over. The quote suggests that by not reacting to these situations, you can achieve greater peace of mind. Reacting impulsively can often lead to more stress, anger, and frustration. By contrast, choosing not to react and allowing the situation to pass can give you a sense of control and calm. It's important to note, however, that this quote is not suggesting that you should ignore or tolerate harmful behavior or situations. Instead, it's a reminder to pick your battles and not let minor annoyances consume you. Living. A person living one more day should make every day valuable. The quote "a person living one more day should make every day valuable" is a reminder that life is precious and finite, and that each day is an opportunity to make the most of it. It suggests that since we are given the gift of another day to live, we should strive to make the most of it by being productive, doing things that bring us joy, and pursuing our goals and aspirations. The quote emphasizes the importance of living in the present moment and making the most of the time we have, instead of putting things off until tomorrow or waiting for the perfect moment. It encourages us to seize the day and make every moment count. Ultimately, the quote reminds us that life is short, and we should cherish and make the most of every day that we are given. By living each day to the fullest, we can create a meaningful and fulfilling life. Content. Accept a given situation and be content, the secret of peace and happiness. This quote suggests that one of the keys to finding peace and happiness in life is to accept the situations we find ourselves in and be content with them. In other words, it encourages us to stop resisting reality and to embrace it, even when things aren't going as we would like them to. When we accept a situation, we stop fighting against it and trying to change it. This can be a powerful way to reduce stress and anxiety, as we no longer feel the need to constantly struggle against something that is outside of our control. Instead, we can focus our energy on making the best of the situation and finding ways to work within its constraints. Being content with a given situation means that we are satisfied with what we have, rather than always striving for more. This doesn't mean that we should stop trying to improve ourselves or our circumstances, but rather that we should appreciate what we have in the present moment and not constantly be seeking something else. When we combine acceptance with contentment, we can find peace and happiness in the midst of any situation. We can let go of our worries and concerns and simply be present in the moment, enjoying the good things that life has to offer. Of course, this is easier said than done, and it takes practice and effort to cultivate acceptance and contentment in our lives. But by focusing on these qualities, we can find greater peace and happiness, even in challenging times. Consciousness. A driver does not see all the four wheels of the vehicle while driving, The consciousness helps to see what is ahead, i.e., the future, acts in the present, with the experience of the past, to move ahead. This quote is a metaphor that compares driving a vehicle to navigating life. The first part of the quote states that a driver does not see all four wheels of the vehicle while driving. This means that while driving, the driver's focus is on what is ahead of them and not necessarily on all the details of the vehicle. The second part of the quote explains that the consciousness helps to see what is ahead, i.e., the future. In other words, our ability to think and plan for the future is what helps us navigate life's challenges. The consciousness allows us to anticipate potential obstacles and opportunities and make decisions accordingly. The third part of the quote emphasizes the importance of the present moment. It states that we must act in the present moment to move forward. We cannot change the past or control the future, but we can take action in the present to shape our future. Finally, the quote suggests that our experiences from the past can inform our actions in the present and help us move forward. Our past experiences give us knowledge and wisdom that we can draw upon when making decisions for the future. In summary, the quote suggests that in order to move forward in life, we need to focus on what is ahead of us, use our consciousness to plan for the future, take action in the present moment, and draw upon our past experiences to inform our decisions. Universe. I am soul, soul is consciousness, consciousness is universe, universe is I. The quote, I am soul, soul is consciousness, consciousness is universe, universe is I can be interpreted in different ways, but it generally suggests the interconnectedness and unity of all things. At its core, the quote implies that the essence of the self, the I, is the soul. The soul is often considered the spiritual or immortal part of a person, which is distinct from the physical body. It is seen as the core of a person's identity, the source of their values, emotions, and purpose. The next part of the quote, soul is consciousness, suggests that the soul is closely tied to consciousness. Consciousness refers to the state of being aware of one's surroundings, thoughts, feelings, and sensations. It is the ability to experience and perceive the world around us. In this context, the soul can be seen as the source or foundation of consciousness, giving rise to our ability to be aware and perceive. The following part of the quote, consciousness is universe, implies that consciousness is not limited to the individual but is instead an inherent part of the larger universe. This suggests that the universe itself is conscious, or that consciousness is a fundamental property of the universe. Finally, the quote concludes with, universe is I, which suggests that the self is not separate from the universe but is, in fact, part of it. This can be interpreted as an assertion that the self is not just an isolated individual but is connected to and influenced by everything around it. In summary, this quote suggests that the self, consciousness, and the universe are all interconnected and interdependent. It implies that the essence of the self, the soul, is the source of consciousness, and that consciousness is not just an individual property but is an inherent part of the universe. Ultimately, the quote suggests that the self is not separate from the universe but is an integral part of it. Life. I am present, present is moment, moment is life, life is I. The quote, I am present, present is moment, moment is life, life is I, is a reflective statement that emphasizes the importance of being mindful and present in the moment, and how this relates to our sense of self and the experience of life itself. I am present refers to the idea that we are fully aware of our surroundings and our internal state in the present moment. Being present requires us to let go of worries about the past or future, and to focus our attention on what is happening right now. Present is moment suggests that the present moment is all there is. The past is gone and the future is unknown, so the only moment that truly matters is the present one. Moment is life highlights the idea that life is made up of a series of individual moments. Our experiences, thoughts, and actions all happen within specific moments in time. Therefore, the quality of our life is determined by the quality of the moments we experience. Life is I reflects the idea that our experience of life is intimately tied to our sense of self. We are the ones who experience life and make meaning out of our experiences. Our perceptions, thoughts, and emotions shape our experience of life, and ultimately determine the kind of life we live. Overall, the quote emphasizes the importance of being present in the moment, recognizing that our experience of life is shaped by the moments we experience, and acknowledging the role of our sense of self in the way we experience and interpret the world around us. Reality. I am love, love is continuity, continuity is reality, reality is I. The quote I am love, love is continuity, continuity is reality, reality is I can be interpreted in several ways. Here's one possible explanation. I am love implies that the speaker identifies themselves as love, which means they see themselves as a source of compassion, empathy, and connection. It suggests that the speaker perceives their own identity as being defined by their ability to love others. Love is continuity implies that love is not a fleeting or temporary emotion, but rather an ongoing and persistent state. Love is something that endures and persists over time, even in the face of adversity or challenges. Continuity is reality suggests that the only true reality is that which endures over time. In other words, the things that are fleeting or temporary are not truly real, since they do not have a lasting impact on the world or on our lives. Reality is I implies that the speaker sees themselves as the only truly real entity in the world. This can be interpreted in different ways, but it could suggest that the speaker sees themselves as the center of their own reality, and that everything else in the world is defined in relation to them. Taken together, this quote could be seen as a statement of the speaker's philosophy or worldview. It suggests that the speaker sees themselves as a source of love and connection, and that they believe in the enduring power of love and continuity. It also implies that the speaker sees themselves as the center of their own reality, and that their own experience of the world is the only truly real thing. Supreme. I am being, being is omnipresent, omnipresent is supreme, supreme is I. The quote I am being is omnipresent, omnipresent is supreme, supreme is I suggests a concept of oneness, where the speaker is equating their own identity with the idea of being and supreme omnipresence. Let's break down the quote further. I am being. This part of the quote suggests that the speaker recognizes their own existence, their own being. It implies a sense of self-awareness and acknowledgement of their own identity. Being is omnipresent. Here, the quote suggests that being, or existence, is everywhere, all-encompassing. It implies that everything that exists, no matter how big or small, is part of the same fabric of existence. Omnipresent is supreme. This part of the quote suggests that the idea of omnipresence, or being everywhere at once, is the ultimate expression of power and authority. It implies that being present everywhere is a characteristic of something that is supreme, beyond any limitations or constraints. Supreme is I. Finally, the quote concludes by bringing these ideas together, suggesting that the speaker is identifying themselves with the concepts of being, omnipresence, and supreme power. It implies a sense of unity with everything that exists, and a recognition of their own place within the vastness of the universe. In summary, the quote suggests a philosophy of interconnectedness and oneness, where the speaker sees themselves as part of a larger whole, and identifies their own identity with the concept of being and supreme omnipresence. Infinity. Either change is expansion, expansion is infinity, infinity is I. The quote, either change is expansion, expansion is infinity, infinity is I suggests that personal growth and transformation are infinite and interconnected processes that lead to self-realization. The first part of the quote, either change implies that the process of change begins with the individual. It suggests that each person has the power to initiate change within themselves, rather than waiting for external factors to bring about change. The second part of the quote, change is expansion suggests that change is not just about moving from one state to another but also about expanding one's knowledge, understanding, and perspective. When we embrace change, we open ourselves up to new possibilities, opportunities, and ways of being. The third part of the quote, expansion is infinity suggests that the process of growth and change is infinite. There is no limit to how much we can learn, grow, and expand our consciousness. Each step we take towards self-improvement opens up new avenues for personal development. Finally, the last part of the quote, infinity is I suggests that the ultimate realization of our infinite potential lies within us. As we continue to grow and expand, we come closer to discovering our true selves and our purpose in life. Overall, the quote suggests that change is a never-ending process that leads to personal growth and self-realization. By embracing change, we can expand our consciousness and tap into our infinite potential. Responsibility. Either cause is effect, effect is responsibility, responsibility is I. The quote either cause is effect, effect is responsibility, responsibility is I is a philosophical statement that suggests a fundamental relationship between cause and effect, responsibility, and personal identity. At its core, the quote suggests that we are all responsible for the effects that we cause in the world. In other words, our actions have consequences, and we are accountable for those consequences. This accountability is not just a matter of social or legal norms, it is a matter of personal identity. Who we are is inextricably linked to the effects we cause in the world. The quote also suggests that cause and effect are interconnected. Every cause has an effect, and every effect has a cause. This means that we cannot simply act in the world without considering the potential consequences of our actions. We must be mindful of how our actions will impact others and the world around us. Finally, the quote suggests that responsibility is an essential part of our personal identity. We are not just passive observers of the world, we are active agents who can shape the world through our actions. This agency comes with a corresponding responsibility to use our power in ways that are responsible and ethical. Taken together, the quote suggests that we are all interconnected through cause and effect, and that our actions have consequences that we are responsible for. By embracing this interconnectedness and taking responsibility for our actions, we can become more fully ourselves and make a positive impact on the world around us. Everything. I am existence, existence is harmony, harmony is everything, everything is I. The quote I am existence, existence is harmony, harmony is everything, everything is I appears to express a philosophical idea that is grounded in the concept of unity and interconnectedness. At its core, the quote seems to suggest that there is a fundamental unity between the self, represented by the first-person pronoun I, and the wider world. In other words, the self is not a separate entity, but rather an integral part of the larger reality that encompasses everything. The first part of the quote, I am existence, implies that the self is not a distinct entity, but rather an inherent aspect of existence itself. This aligns with the philosophical notion of monism, which asserts that all of reality is ultimately reducible to a single, unified substance or principle. The second part of the quote, existence is harmony, suggests that this unified substance or principle is characterized by a state of harmony. This could refer to a sense of balance or equilibrium between opposing forces or elements, or it could refer to a deeper sense of coherence or interconnectedness between all things. The third part of the quote, harmony is everything, implies that this state of harmony pervades all aspects of reality, from the smallest subatomic particles to the largest cosmic structures. In other words, there is no aspect of reality that exists in isolation from everything else, everything is connected and interdependent. Finally, the quote concludes with the statement everything is I, which suggests that the self and the wider reality are not separate entities, but rather two aspects of the same underlying unity. This implies that the self is not a fixed and isolated entity, but rather a fluid and constantly changing manifestation of the larger reality. Overall, the quote seems to express a profound sense of interconnectedness and unity between the self and the wider world, suggesting that the boundaries between the two are ultimately illusory. Oneness. I am you, you are we is oneness, oneness is I. The quote I am you are we is oneness, oneness is I can be interpreted in different ways, but generally, it suggests the interconnectedness and unity of all beings. I am you refers to the idea that we are not separate individuals, but rather we are all connected and part of the same consciousness or energy. It means that we share common experiences, emotions, and values. You are we emphasizes the collective nature of humanity. It implies that our well-being is not just an individual matter but a shared responsibility, and that we are all interconnected in a larger web of existence. We is oneness means that when we come together as a collective, we create a sense of unity and wholeness. It implies that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts and that we are stronger together than we are alone. Oneness is I suggests that the concept of oneness or unity is not just an abstract idea, but a fundamental part of our being. It means that we are all connected and part of the same source of consciousness or energy. Overall, this quote promotes the idea of interconnectedness and unity among all beings, emphasizing that we are all part of a larger whole and that our well-being is deeply connected to the well-being of others. Universe. I am subtlest, subtlest is nothing, nothing is universe, universe is I. The quote I am subtlest, subtlest is nothing, nothing is universe, universe is I is a statement that expresses a deep understanding of the nature of the universe and the self. The first part of the quote, I am subtlest, suggests that the speaker identifies with the most subtle aspects of existence. This could refer to the idea that everything in the universe is made up of tiny particles or vibrations, and that the most subtle of these are the building blocks of all matter and energy. The second part of the quote, subtlest is nothing, suggests that even the most subtle aspects of existence are ultimately empty or void. This is a concept found in many spiritual traditions, including Buddhism, where it is referred to as emptiness or voidness. It is the idea that all things are impermanent and ultimately lack inherent existence or independent self-nature. The third part of the quote, nothing is universe, suggests that the emptiness or voidness that underlies all things is also the foundation of the universe itself. This idea is similar to the concept of the ground of being found in some religious and philosophical traditions. It suggests that the universe is not simply a collection of individual objects, but rather a vast interconnected web of relationships and patterns. The final part of the quote, universe is I, suggests that the self is not separate from the universe, but rather an integral part of it. This idea is also found in many spiritual and philosophical traditions, and suggests that the sense of separation and individuality that we experience is an illusion. Instead, we are all part of a larger whole, interconnected and interdependent. In summary, the quote I am subtlest, subtlest is nothing, nothing is universe, universe is I is a statement that reflects a deep understanding of the nature of existence, and suggests that the self is not separate from the universe, but rather an integral part of it. Goals. Great leaders also undergo great physical pain and mental stress in achieving common goals. The quote great leaders also undergo great physical pain and mental stress in achieving common goals suggests that leaders often endure significant physical and mental challenges in their pursuit of a shared objective. This statement highlights the sacrifices that leaders make in order to bring about positive change and achieve success. Leadership often involves taking on significant responsibility, making tough decisions, and navigating complex situations. This can be a highly stressful and demanding role, both physically and mentally. Leaders may experience sleepless nights, long working hours, and constant pressure to perform. They may also have to deal with difficult personalities, conflicting agendas, and competing priorities. Physical pain can also be a part of leadership, especially in situations where leaders need to put themselves in harm's way to protect others or achieve a goal. For example, soldiers, firefighters, and emergency responders often face physical risks as part of their leadership roles. However, despite the challenges, great leaders often persevere and continue to work towards their goals. They inspire and motivate others, even in the face of adversity, and they are willing to make personal sacrifices for the greater good. Ultimately, the quote suggests that leadership is not an easy task, but it is a necessary one for achieving common goals and creating positive change. Sensitivity. Education may not improve a person's sensitivity and humbleness. The quote education may not improve a person's sensitivity and humbleness suggests that the acquisition of knowledge and academic achievement through formal education does not necessarily guarantee the development of certain personal qualities such as empathy, kindness, and humility. While education provides opportunities for individuals to learn and gain new perspectives, it is not a guarantee that they will develop into well-rounded individuals who are sensitive to the needs and feelings of others, or who are able to recognize their own limitations and mistakes. In fact, some individuals may become arrogant or conceited as a result of their education, believing that their knowledge or academic credentials make them superior to others. Others may become so focused on academic achievement that they neglect to develop important personal qualities that are necessary for healthy relationships and personal growth. Therefore, while education is an important aspect of personal development and professional success, it is important to recognize that it is not the only factor that contributes to the development of sensitivity and humbleness. Other factors, such as life experiences, relationships, and personal values, also play a significant role in shaping an individual's character.